Underdog Daily with the Badge Bros, Jon and Nez, hanging out. Black and Yellow Dog app platform. The people here. Can't believe it's October, which means it's Boost-ober on the platform here. We're going to be dealing with some 30% boost in the pick'em. Nez, I'm not sure if these guys are aware, but the boys are hotter than hot right now, and the core keeps getting home, and now they're just shilling out boosts for us. We might take them down.
I got a good feeling. I got a real good feeling. They claim the boost is unlimited, and yeah, I'm gonna absolutely push that to its limit. We'll see how unlimited this thing is, but so far, still there. And I just keep firing off 50 after 50 after 50. So we'll see.
Awesome, man. Yeah. Nez, we got to talk about some things last night. Some good playoff baseball. Man, some dominant pitching last night. I got a chance to watch a portion of every game. Didn't sit down for a 12-hour shift there, but a portion of every game. Skubal and Gavin Williams were both really good. Base running blunder in the ninth inning from the Guardians' best player there, comebacker at the mound, and just got caught too far off third base after getting a lifeline there with a two-base error to get him to third base. Yankees with the bases loaded, first team in MLB postseason history to not score a run with nobody out with bases loaded in the ninth.
Wow.
Yeah. Weird stat I heard yesterday.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy. There's the first.
I'm just reciting what I heard, but that's pretty fucking crazy. Chapman just shutting the door on them after loading them up, man. Ohtani doing special Ohtani things. Good back and forth pitching game in the Padres and Cubs game, but the Cubs just get two back-to-back jacks, and that was the separator. They're just running into some power on a day that was not really set up for power, to be honest. And then Ohtani and the Dodgers. What more can you say?
Yeah, it's kind of nuts that every wild card series is like two teams fighting for their lives.
Yeah.
And then there's the Dodgers just like being offered like a tribal sacrifice. Just here, take these lowly Reds and then move about your postseason venture. It's just crazy, man. It's just nobody runs better.
Yeah, other than the Brewers. Brewers, nothing bad's ever happened to the Brewers, of course. But for sure there, dude. Like, Reds didn't look like they had a fighting chance from the jump there. I thought Hunter Green, man, I thought Hunter Green would give them a kick at the can. Dude just
I did.
He just sits 100. And, he's been pretty fresh this year after missing some time, and he's been really good to end the season. So, yeah, I don't know. Thought there was some really good baseball being played yesterday. And then today, man, we already got games underway here. Your boy chased the lauder. Never wrong, just early there, Nez. Only played 34 baseball games this year, and they just plug him into center field, plug him into the lineup. A blunder on the defensive side to score the first run, unfortunately, there. But he had a really nice at-bat where he could have easily quit on the AB down 0-2 and then battled all the way back for a walk with two outs there. So, I don't know, man. What just thoughts on what we're going to see today?
I mean, I think you're going to see a pretty strong battle with Yankees and Red Sox. I do like the Yankees there, but Bayo is the Yankee killer, and it's going to be, not daytime when he's on the mound, so that's always good for Bayo. Dodgers should sleepwalk to the next round. Mm-hmm. With Yamamoto on the mound, it shouldn't even be close. And then bullpen game for the Cubs.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I didn't actually look yet. I didn't play the slate this morning because it was full by the time I got up. I was playing some late hockey last night, so I didn't even know that.
I'm pretty sure they've got Kittredge starting.
Oh, they got Kittredge starting as a righty, and then they have Shota listed behind. So opener plus Shota. Interesting. Huh.
I hope they lose for that.
Yeah, that doesn't feel like something you do to a guy like Shota. And especially when we've talked about it yesterday with the Padres, they're going to be running out 5 or 6 lefties. So Yeah, I don't know what the benefit of an opener in that spot is. Just the
I hate that. I hope they lose for that.
yeah. I mean, maybe it's the Tatis at bat, but Tatis has been, lefty righty, like reverse splitsy. Like he hasn't really killed lefties for power this year. He's actually been better versus righties for power. Maybe it's all just a play for Machado because Machado's been so good against lefties.
Yeah, I guess it's just that's not baseball, man. You have Shota and you're running an opener. What are we doing?
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting that the Reds are going Zach Littell instead of Nick Lodolo, who basically pitched 1 inning on Sunday, or Andrew Abbott, who pitched on Saturday, I believe. Like Andrew Abbott was an all-star. Lodolo has the high K ceiling stuff. And then you're running out Zach Littell, who was, has a big time home run to fly ball problem. And he's, your acquisition at the deadline. I don't know. That doesn't sit overly well with me.
It's like, whatever. We're going to lose anyways.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then Giolito, man. Giolito not going to pitch in the wild card series there. So as you alluded to, it's Bayo for the second spot. If this one goes 3, because obviously Yankees set up so much better with lefties against a righty. If this one goes 3, really interested to see what the Red Sox do. Like obviously they moved on from Walker Buehler and that sort of deal. Giolito on the IL. Like what do you do with your third spot there?
I know. Is it just like a bullpen game, or does early get a start? I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, that'll be really, really interesting there. Also, would have been interesting to see what the Cubs did today if Cade Horton didn't go to the IL. Like, would Cade Horton start over Shota today?
He definitely would have started one of these games for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I tend to agree with you there, man. Anyways, we're going to talk a bunch of football today, do the definitive preview, but we got eyes on the baseball in the background here. I want to shout out some winners there. We did a paywall show there yesterday that was going swimmingly, and then the platform had some unfortunate mishaps there. Did not get to finish our NBA draft, but we did talk about an hour of hoops yesterday, which was fun, just reset our mindset. I've actually been thinking about this, Nez, with Puck starting on Tuesday the 7th, and with NBA starting on the 21st there. And just something's been living rent-free in my mind that I wanted to discuss with you. Since Monday's show, I believe it was Inthrius who said it, but don't quote me on it. It was one of our guests with the Winner's Circle, said something to the effect of like, man, it's crazy how much content there is around football and these games and where edges realize themselves on the platform. Because you and I are effectively the only two people making hoops underdog content, the only people making MLB underdog content, right? Whereas with football, there's 20, 30, 40 outlets where you can get this stuff. And then there's the layered on the season long, layer on the redacted, that sort of thing. I don't know, man. Maybe this is just like resetting the old niche sports versus cumulative sports. But I can't help but think, especially with a little bit of overlay potentially brewing in both the puck and NBA streets right now, that people would really benefit from realizing their edge quickly in those contests right now.
Yeah, there's just not a lot of, like a lot of people just gravitate towards football. I mean, there's just not a lot of the hoops grinders, the hoops first grinders, the puck first grinders are few and far between,
Right.
So there's a lot of secondary, hoops guys and puck guys. I think if you're a secondary puck guy, you might as well be a primary puck guy because that's better than most have to offer. But no, I mean it's there's strong edges there for sure, and I do think that if people thought in like an edge-minded way, they would probably be gravitating toward these contests for sure. But because I feel, but then there's the flip side of it where like, I played a lot of double dribble last year, obviously, or I'm all in the NBA BR streets where like, I'm still kind of gathering information on who are the good picks in the NBA. best ball streets that it kind of makes it difficult because I am so conscious about like making sure that I have an advantage, you know? So it's kind of a double-edged sword.
Double-edged sword in that regard. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's also like less confirmation bias too, so you feel less confident in your isolated takes too.
No, it's true.
Yeah, like there is something reassuring about the echo chamber of the football, even if it is just this little bubble that we're in, that like, hey, I thought these guys were good plays. Oh, now I see them on the cover, or now I see them listed in Pete's Scroll the F Down Masterclass Gems. Now it's like pat on the back to me, I'm playing well. Whereas like in NBA or in puck, you don't definitively know right now because there's like 3 streams out there for the guys who want to do like puck best ball right now.
Yep. Yeah. It's just not. Yeah. It's so different in football. Like it was Inthrius that did say that. Yeah. There's endless amounts of content.
Yeah. Exactly. Dude, let's keep moving on here. Talk about I want to talk about the 2 things on the platform, but I want to hit a couple things in the chat. Masterclass promo right now. Yes, there's 2 things going on. There's the free lesson right now for swaps if you just want to get a taste of it, and then promo code BADGE is 10% off if he's saying Adam's saying that he's already signed up, but his buddy wants to get in there. Love that. And then another ringing endorsement in the chat here from our guy Keaton saying he's loving the DFS Masterclass, especially the PTP inputs right now. We will be talking Primetime Palooza tomorrow. Really, really fun Primetime Palooza slate there. Keaton asking for puck streams. I'm going to fire another one up before Tuesday. I don't know definitively when it will be. Go and watch anything that DJ Sabes, aka DJ Mitchell, has put up there. DJ Mitchell 94 on Twitter, and then Matt Moody, aka Fake Moods, on Twitter as well. Those are 2 good ones. And then I did see the Stochastic guys running a puck stream yesterday as well of a best ball draft. So if you want to go check out those 3. Also, I think we did a really good job Tuesday's stream of last week. Myself and Moody did one there. If you guys missed that one. Okay, Nez, we did some shout outs behind the paywall yesterday, but I did want to hit a reset on this one just in case our guy Neil didn't see it. Shout out to Neil Farley here who took down 15K in the first ever iteration of the first quarter. This was actually the first quarter too. There's a link to the lineup and that sort of thing if you guys want to check it out. We were both shocked to find out no Jonathan Taylor was necessary on that one, but shout out to one of the good guys in the community here who has found his way onto some streams and done some content as well. So just wanted to send some love there, and then wanted to hit the 2 promos that we were talking about at the start there. BOOST-ober in full effect here. Unlimited 30% boosts with an asterisk till we run them dry with the core over and over again. But take advantage of those on every pick'em in which you play this month. Make sure you hit the prize box first to then see if you are eligible for a 30% boost. Take advantage of it as long as you possibly can. And then the other one that was really interesting here, Nez, same player, multiple picks. New way to play on Underdog here. You can make up to 3 picks on the same player in a single entry. Still needs to be paired with something from a different game environment or a different player, something like that. But you can do 3 up to 1. So methinks this is going to be a lot of fun to mess around with on, off, and on the clock.
Yeah. I tried on desktop. I don't think it's there on desktop, but mobile I think is good to go. Yeah, I haven't put anything together yet, but this is definitely a lot of fun because there's more than like on more than one occasion have I wished I could throw in multiple stats in these. So that's really cool. Glad this is here, and it makes a lot of sense that it is. You know, it's all you need is 2 players from 2 different teams, to make a pick 'em. So as long as you meet that requirement, why can't you have more than 1 stat? So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, no, I like it, man. I think it's really good here. It is something I'm really interested to see how like the docking and the multipliers will work with stuff like that, because like, yardage and touchdowns are so positively correlated. Not maybe let me rephrase that. They're definitely positively correlated. So like there might be some pain when we find out that like, hey, a 3Xer now only becomes like a 4.5 or something like that. But done right, this could be a lot of fun for us.
Yeah, I know people like to do like the negative correlations on
Mm.
on other sites where you do like a lower on receptions and a higher on yards and things like that, where you're just hoping for like a big play.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun to mess around.
Cool. Jess is asking any pick'em advice coming to the masterclass. It was something we set out to do as a segment. We all had some notes on it. We talked about it, and then we were like, "Holy shit, this could be like a big thing in and of itself." We're working on something else for the masterclass right now, but there is going to be some expansion stuff potentially coming in the future here that we're working on right now. At this point in time, it is not pick'em based. But no, we will definitely have something pick'em or pick'em adjacent in the future. Pitch is asking, there was something going on in the Discord. I think Brett addressed this in terms of update on eliminator payouts. I do not definitively have. Monitor and track your own payout stuff, guys. If you see, something that's wrong with it, or something has been miscalculated or whatever, then reach out to Hope, Numi, or Brett there. But I know that they're aware of it right now, and they're working on it right now behind the scenes. There was a note in the Discord this morning.
Yep, yeah, stay tuned on that.
Okay, cool. Pat Moore Poker, stay tuned. Stay tuned, my friend. Stay tuned. No more spoilers, potential spoilers, masterclass related stuff right now. All right, Nez, the last one I wanted to shout out, and it's just because if you know, you know, a legend of the platform from years past. We have to educate the young, fresh, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed comers to the platform on a legend of the past who resurfaced yesterday evening for the main slate on the baseball there. That is our guy, Feed the Freezer, aka Patrick. If you know, you know. Takes down first and second last night. Feed the Freezer. I fucking know you're out there, and we've been looking for you for years, and you've never interacted with us, and I know you're lurking. I know you haven't quit these games yet. Fucking say what up, man. Say what up.
I know it was beautiful. First and second place for our guy Freezer. Yeah, I haven't seen him around as much lately, but of course, he can't quit this. He can't quit these games, even though his OG edge is long gone. But he still can't quit us.
Yeah. Haven't seen Freezer since back in the day. Like holy shit, what a throwback. The real ones know, man. The real ones remember. Feed the Freezer here. Part of the original Mount Rushmore there. Some beautifully constructed lineups. Scrolling down to Tommy Edman, who homers as part of that back-to-back sequence there, getting a discount on the Boston bats. Nick Pivetta was only 28% owned in this one.
Jeez.
So just some well-constructed lineups. And even when pitcher separates, Nez, it doesn't separate enough to matter because it was such a strong pitching slate. 25 from Skubal wasn't necessary because you needed Ohtani.
Yeah, I had to have Ohtani, and that was something that was foreseeable. Definitely foreseeable. I mean, Skubal wasn't even SP1 on the slate, right? It was Crochet. It was 101 too on top of it all. So just like many things incorrect about that ADP. But yeah, it was no Ohtani, no cash for sure. Which Ohtani will tend to lead you to Teoscar, which is obviously extremely important.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a pitcher here. I'm looking for any team that has Skubal or Crochet, and it's not going to be up here because Ohtani was just so necessary. I actually don't know. Here's a Feed the Freezer lineup. Skubal had 25.6. 25.6. Chili. Yeah, I don't know. I can't find a Crochet one because I was Skubal over Crochet. Dog. Skubal. Yeah, I don't know.
There you go.
I don't know what he finished with. Yeah. Yeah. Shipped all the sports, man. All the sports back in the day. All All right, Nets, let's move on, man. The people are here for the Battle Royale breakdown. Let me pull up the beautiful animated interface for us to walk through this one. First iteration of bye weeks. Week 5. Let me bring up my trusty schedule for a second here because I had it already. Atlanta's on bye. The Bears are on bye. The Packers are on bye. And your beloved Steelers, coming off an international game, are on bye. We also have a London international game, which makes the Primetime Palooza 3 games. And then we also have, obviously, one Monday nighter. So only a 10-game main slate. And the Thursday nighter takes the 101 and the 102 of last week in CMC and Puka Nakua off of our slate as well. So, yeah, very, very interesting dynamics to the slate. We also have our first full-fledged injuries and Q tags situation all over the place. We're missing some quarterbacks. We're missing some premium running backs who are most likely, we know who they're going to be replaced by, but we're not sure. Some split backfields are looming. One backfield in which one of the players is not in the player pool. So, yeah, man, just a very discombobulated, very interesting 10-game slate to talk through.
Yeah, it's ugly. Just to put it succinctly, it's very ugly. Not only are there a lot of teams missing, and some decent defensive matchups missing, although we still have some good ones. Just a lot of injuries to boot. So, yeah, there's a lot of moving parts here, a lot of things changing rapidly. We've got a couple days until ADP is fully efficient, but I think most people are going to have ranks put together that have somewhat of a real view of how players are being valued by the field, because ADP is certainly not accurate at all right now for either 6-man or 12-person.
Okay, cool. Love it. Love your stance right now. Love that you have an exploitative early in the week stance. Nez, I just want to rapid fire some game by game notes as we go down. I'm doing this top of mind. I haven't fully listened to Josh and Hayden's recap or the ETR recap yet, so I'm probably going to miss a couple here and there. But just wanted to first game on the docket here. Obviously, Lamar trending towards being out in this one, which means Cooper Rush would start. Cooper Rush finished that game. Woody Marks kind of took over the backfield, and the Ravens defense is completely banged up. Any other just macro notes on that one?
Oh man. Just two really down bad teams right now. Mm-hmm. We saw the Woody Marks breakout, but the spot doesn't look incredible, I guess I would say, just given the total here, and it's in Baltimore. But yeah, Cooper Rush isn't awesome to be starting, but you can still play Derrick Henry. I think people don't seem too afraid to play Henry, but just in case maybe you are scared, I wouldn't be. He's Derrick Henry still. Mm-hmm. And yeah, to me, it's do you play Woody Marks in 6-persons or not?
Okay. Sounds good to me, dude. Yeah, the Derrick Henry stuff's really interesting. Justice Hill had a really nice touchdown last week. I think he might have had 2, but he had 2 really nice plays for sure. But he had one nice touchdown in that one. We've seen the down games after Derrick Henry kind of broke the first slate wide open, and then now it's been a couple down games since then. But traditionally speaking, man, that Henry versus Texans has been a matchup that he's killed for years. Now, completely different teams, completely different setups, yada yada. But yeah, this one's a 40.5 by the unabated line, and interesting to see Texans as road favorites going into Baltimore. Kind of crazy. In terms of our player pool, I guess we just go full game by game. I was going to rattle off some notes, but it feels redundant. We'll just do it as we go here. Anyone else? Nico Collins has a high ADP. I haven't seen anyone click CJ yet. Zay Flowers, we keep talking about the utilization report where his usage is so effing high. Yeah, just thoughts here on draftable pieces.
Yeah, I mean, CJ Stroud's not one of them. Okay. There's just no need to take CJ Stroud here. But Nico, definitely draftable. It's going to be interesting to see what his receiving pick'em turns out to be once Underdog goes live with it, but I think he's going to grade out as a good pick.
Okay.
He's still Nico Collins, and it's just like what's changed for Nico this season, and I think it's the floor more than anything. The floor on Nico is certainly a problem, but the ceiling is still there, and he can still return value. He's wide receiver 5 behind Pickens and Garrett Wilson. I love the spot for Pickens and Wilson both. I would be shocked if Nico comes out behind those two in projection, but the ceiling bet on those two, I fully understand. Garrett Wilson, obviously great target share, soft matchup. George Pickens, sneaky soft matchup. The Jets have allowed quite a bit in terms of EPA allowed in the air. So that's obviously, George Pickens music plus being the guy for Dak Prescott, who continues to look well. I think Nico's a fine pick. ADP 13. I mean, after him, there's certainly not anybody I want to take ahead of Nico. That's for sure. He's a huge tier break at wide receiver. So
yeah. The macro lay of the land of the slate from like a position by position standpoint is quarterback feels deep. Tight end, we just feel like we need touchdowns, and we hope touchdowns or positive regression for Brock Bowers smacks this week somehow. Like that's how I view tight end. It's just like, who's going to score touchdowns? And if we get 2 from one guy, he breaks the slate. If we don't, whatever. Running back feels good and deep and very top heavy. And then wide receiver feels like there's 3 guys I want to play, and then I have no idea. It's very ambiguous. It's very choose your own adventure. It's very scrolly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And it doesn't feel good to scroll. It's just very scrolly because it feels so effing flat.
Right. Yeah. I don't think most of my scrolls will be at wide receiver this week, to be fair.
Yeah. Like if you want to get concentrated around those upper echelon ones in the same way we got concentrated around Puka last week, I would not fault you in any regard, because the usage and matchup for the top end guys, especially Amon-Ra St. Brown, feels so good.
It does.
Yeah. All right, Nez, anything else to say on that Texans and Ravens game, or can we move on here?
No, let's keep it pushing.
Yeah, our guy Ty in the chat here. Oh, sorry. Our guy Ty in the chat here saying, like, how do you not just put it in Derrick Henry's belly 30 times?
Yeah, I fully agree. I think even when you're down, you just feed Derrick Henry.
Yeah. Also interesting to just note that, like, we always talk about Thorman's article on ETR. This was one of the pace down slog ones. This one with Cooper Rush at the helm there. Moving on, Colts and Raiders, man. Colts are 80 Mitchell switching the ball in his hands at the goal line, away from being 4-0 here with Daniel Jones at the helm. We talked about Daniel Jones's, just EPA in general. Raiders have been diced up through the air considerable amount. They do have Crosby. Mason Crosby had an amazing game last time out, and they can get after the quarterback in a big way. Jonathan Taylor has been kind of like the story of fantasy from the robust RB drafter mindset, how he's just lapping the field with that second round pick in BBM right now, or at least the running backs are. But yeah, 7-point favorites at home for the Colts here, 47.5 by way of the unabated line. I saw Alec Pierce back at practice. Tyler Warren, who you proclaimed 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago now, you're like, do I want to get too high on this? But tight end 1 rest of season contender right there. So looking every bit of the role here. Brock Bowers, man, it's just maybe he's being affected by the knee injury. Maybe it's the brace. Maybe it's the old narrative of, Geno / Pete Carroll don't like to throw to the tight end. Michael Mayer missed one of these games, and like his snaps and targets and everything didn't really increase. They just add another tight end to the mix. I don't know, man. Thoughts on this one in general? Is it a sneaky go back to the well spot after everybody played Raiders passing last week? Now the pendulum switches to everybody wants to play Genty this week. Do we go back to playing Raiders passing when everybody else is trying to play it through Genty and just do the flip flop.
Yeah, Genty definitely has a palatable ADP. The field did not get over their skis yet at all on him. He's ADP 19, but it does make sense when you consider the depth of running back and the lack of depth at wide receiver. But I fully expected Ashton Genty to be like a top 10 pick. But people have kept their composure on him. So he's not like a terrible pick, but he's not a smash for sure. Okay. The Colts are really not a bad defense. In terms of EPA, they're like top 10, I think, in fact. So it's definitely interesting. I think they can be had more in the air than they can on the ground, for sure. And I don't think that on paper they're strong in the air, but like the pass rush maybe is like really doing a lot. I'm not really sure how they're having such effectiveness defensively, but maybe it's a matchup thing. That being said, I think I agree with you. I'd prefer to attack with Vegas through the air in a game where they're probably trailing with a high total. But I mean, Geno, man, in a layup spot looked like ass.
Yeah.
Not a great look, but in terms of draftable pieces, I think Jacoby, Scroll, Evergreen makes sense. And the Bowers ADP, totally fair. 22 ADP. I think I still prefer Jake Ferguson over him. I think Bowers is hurt. Ooh. I mean, he's got a fat brace on his knee, man.
Right.
He's hurt. He's hurt.
Yep. Yeah, man. Absolutely. Yeah. I think Bowers is a really tough one to determine what to do with this week. Are we just buying the narrative? Are we pushing back? Yeah. A couple of injury ones from this one, like Travarius Ward was back last week, which helped that defense on the Colts side. Other one is Colton Miller here. We're dealing with a really bad offensive line with the Raiders. We were talking about how Genty was getting hit in the backfield so frequently, and now they lose their best offensive lineman too. So that's kind of like another, I guess, feather in the cap for playing the passing angle of this one. Jacoby Myers going to be a nice little scroll in this one. He's going to project better than he is right now. And Michael Pittman Jr. as well. Like he looks like a good scroll right now. And yes, legendary Packers kicker Mason Crosby getting after the quarterback on the Raiders side. Of course, my bad. Always.
You got that one out of the way early, huh?
Yeah. Don't worry. There's gonna be plenty fucking more of them. It's what happens when you play 5 sports and talk about 5 sports, guys. Sometimes 6. All right. Anything else to say on this one? Is JT your 101? I find it really interesting that like his ADP looks like he's the 1-1, but he keeps falling in so many of my rooms. People are taking Gibbs over him a lot. People are even taking Achane over him. Is JT your 101 this week?
Yeah, and it's to me like pretty obvious, but I know we're losing a lot in Miami with Hill gone, so maybe more work for Achane. In terms of Achane, like Achane and JT project for similar scrimmage yards,
okay,
but their team totals are far apart. And if a team has a team total as far apart as like the Colts do, and they have Jonathan Taylor, I'm guessing he's going to account for a touchdown at a minimum. Whereas Achane, there's a chance he doesn't score at all. So give me JT given the touchdown equity in this spot personally. So yeah, that's my 1-2. And then Gibbs also out here, but there's a lot of ball to go around in Detroit, man. So I don't feel like Gibbs is a slam dunk over JT given given everything in consideration here for what can go in JT's favor, which is really an elite floor and one of the highest ceilings.
Yeah, man. He looks every bit of the 101 that he was 2-3 years ago when we aped in on that play.
Dude, 5 receptions last week.
Yeah. I mean, he's 90% CMC with the burst. He's a better runner than CMC looks right now. like just eye test?
Karain in his walkthrough last week was kind of like throwing out the thesis of like kind of saying the quiet part out loud, which is like CMC's efficiency is not what it was.
Right.
I mean, the volume is giga elite, but yeah, dude, the efficiency is like not exactly where it was.
Okay.
Obviously, we don't have CMC on the slate, but yeah, no, I mean, since we were talking about it.
Yeah, there's two interesting things about CMC. Both his quarterbacks have been hurt at different isolated points during when they were playing, sort of thing. His tight end, who is a focal point of like little dump off stuff, who's like the secondary dump off guy and is one of the best blocking tight ends in all of football, has been hurt. Yeah, maybe losing Debo for some of that schematic like run stuff that takes eyes away from the backfield is hurting right now, and then all of his wide receivers have been hurt too. So like I'm not going to pin the efficiency stuff fully on CMC. I think there's contextual evidence as well as to why it could be down, right?
Yeah, he's still having success, but like there's a reason he's not hitting his expected fantasy points also.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, I mean, yeah, he's expected to score more touchdowns, but he's getting a lot of work and is expected to do a little bit more with it. So I don't know, man. I'm not saying CMC's washed. He's still a top 3 player, but there's players I think have, players that look better right now.
Fun conversation to have for tomorrow with the Puka versus CMC 101 in the Primetime Palooza debate there. Shout out to a couple guys in the chat here for keeping me honest with some things here. Hurt versus injured. Brock Bowers is playing hurt. He is not injured. Colton Miller is injured, carted off IR. So if we're talking hurt versus injured.
I don't co-sign this.
What?
Dude, Brock Bowers is hurt and injured at the same time.
Yeah, but he's still playing. Injured's like IR. So like just to clarify, Colton Miller's IR.
Yes.
Yeah.
But okay.
Yeah. Brock Bowers is still playing football. So he's hurt.
Right.
He's playing hurt.
Yeah. All
right. And the other one we got to always tap in on, Bound rolling through 2 McDoubles and 10 pick'ems for lunch. Hopefully he used the 30% Boost-ober on said pick'ems there. 2 McDoubles for lunch. Cheeky man right there. A little hot bag for lunch. Nez, let's move on from this one here. I think that's going to be kind of like a fun game environment one to play a little bit. We got Broncos and Eagles. Two defenses like Broncos in particular have really stepped up in recent weeks here. People are really quick and wanting to just throw shade all over the place for the Eagles pass attack because basically we've just seen one good quarter of it all year. And it's led to like AJ Brown way down on a slate where we're thirsty for wide receivers, buried at like 29 or something like that. Only a 43.5 total here, 3.5 at home by the Eagles. It feels like a just squeeze the air out of the football spot at home here. And this game is not nearly as fun as the fantasy pieces in which it or the fantasy talent which is in it. Do you feel similarly in that regard, or do you leave the light on that there could be, a little bit of fun in this ball game, a little bit of up tempo?
No, I think there's opportunities for fun here.
Okay, nice.
Eagles, pretty good defense, obviously goes without saying. The Broncos though have been like okay, not outstanding defensively. So one of these teams needs to push the goddamn pace. Who's it going to be? Who's going to come out and push the pace here? That's really what we need. But there's some squeaky wheel narrative from AJ Brown, who like despite being 4-0 is like saying, yeah, if you're to quote Lava Lord here, if you're not welcome, not listened to, quietly withdraw. Don't make a scene. Shrug your shoulders and be on your way.
That's
your team's 4-0.
That's me in the redacted chat in Discord.
Shrug your shoulders and be on your way. So, yeah, I mean, both these defenses are good, just not like playing at elite levels right now. And I think both these offenses have really good pieces to them. Ultimately, though, based on what we've seen so far this season, the Broncos have to be the one to push the pace. They have to make the Eagles play aggressive. So if we can get some efficient play from the Broncos, then we are in for a solid game, I think. So one of those spots where I think a bring back, not totally necessary, but the understanding is if you are playing AJ Brown, maybe Jalen Hurts can have a good game while still throwing for under 200 passing yards. But if you're playing AJ Brown or Devontae Smith specifically, you need to kind of be telling yourself, I think, okay, the Broncos are making this a game, unless squeaky wheel gets home. But it's been 4 weeks now, and Eagles just haven't been playing aggressive at all, and we can attribute this to the new OC, I think.
Okay. All right. I like where you're at with this one. I like the narrative of like, hey, man, all the Broncos are free. So if you are going to play Broncos push, forcing Eagles to pass, to mix in Sutton, Mims, Dobbins, who had 100 yards against the Bengals there, like something like that, feels good. I think Evan Ingram's basically untouchable at this point in time. And I think RJ Harvey is like, we're waiting for that breakout, and that breakout came last game, but like, I'm not going to say garbage time, but like a little bit later in the ball game when it's like, 21 and they're up 21 and, he scores the receiving touchdown. The usage was nice for him, but they just ran so many effing plays on offense. And I don't anticipate them doing the same in this matchup.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And like, it's hard to get past anything other than like Sutton for the Broncos. I think Ingram potentially, because people are maybe not loving Evan Ingram. I'm not really either, but he's still running a lot of routes, seeing a decent amount of targets. And for a tight end, you can scroll at tight end for sure.
Sure, yeah.
But getting to Mims or Franklin, I think, is a bridge too far in 6 mans.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I like this Sutton call from Chris G here. I mean, we've joked about the pencil him in for 60-1, and Hayden actually had a tweet during the game on Monday night that kind of actually solidified that bro science, where it's like amongst all wide receivers in football to go 50-1 since 2023, he's like third in the league. It's literally Chase, Jefferson, him kind of thing, something like that. So yeah, I'm butchering the stat. Go check out Hayden's Twitter there. But yeah, there's credence to the fact that like he always looks for Sutton. He looks for Sutton in the red zone. Sutton made a really nice play in the red zone for that touchdown last week. Yeah, methinks Sutton on a wide receiver needy slate is going to be kind of like the engine that pushes this game if this game goes over total.
Yeah, yep. I fully agree. Sutton right now in drafts is ADP 34. So awesome pick right now.
Yeah. 34.2 wide receiver, 15 on the slate. He scored a touchdown in 3 of the first 4 games. He's had north of 15 fantasy points in 3 out of 4. He's had north of 6 targets in 3 out of 4. Yeah, man, it was just basically the one clunker mixed in there. Cool. All right, Nez, let's move on here to Miami and the Panthers. We had the Tyreek Hill conversation the other day and going out smiling, tearing his shit all apart in his knee. Darren Waller was like the hot topic of waiver wire pickup this week. We kept citing how he only ran, 12 routes or something, 10 or 12 routes. He was targeted on 4 of them. It results in 2 touchdowns. People are going to want to play Darren Waller again this week. The Panthers go goose egg after dropping 30 in a goose egg on Atlanta 2 weeks ago, then go goose egg in their own accord this week. Now they're kind of, I have no idea what to do with the Panthers. Or they didn't go goose egg. Sorry, Tommy Tremble scored the first touchdown there. My bad. But after they post a goose egg on defense, they get decimated the following week here. I kind of like what I saw from like Fins up in the primetime game there. I kind of want to play Fins again here, but it looks like the field does too, because Waddle and HN go every single time. Tua does not. Tua, kind of a similar thesis to like Matthew Stafford last week, where I kind of go like, yeah, it's super concentrated. Yeah, it's good, but does he really have the ceiling to separate because he doesn't run? And well, we saw Stafford get home at 5% owned last week. So maybe Tua could in this spot. And then Tetaroa, man, you like Tetaroa a lot this week. We put him on the cover there. Yeah, just thoughts on the matchup, bro.
Yeah, I mean, no Tua without Tyreek. No, just no reason to do that, I don't think. But total is good and the spread is tight, so that's pretty interesting. Mm-hmm. Love McMillan this week against Miami, man. This Miami secondary, I don't know if we kind of get like fatigue when we get these, when we look at a slate on a whole, and we, have these new results that we are kind of trying to account for and everything. I think we kind of forget that the Miami secondary is still ass. They have not gotten better. They are still very, very bad. And we've got the Panthers at home, and we have McMillan, who is just a usage monster continually. Mm-hmm. And they are not afraid to pass in Carolina. They're extremely willing to throw a lot. So, like, to me, this is like a T-Mac explosion spot. And I'm going to be playing this like a ton of different ways. I haven't seen a ton of receiving projections out yet for T-Mac on unabated, but what I did see to me was like an automatic higher, if that's what's going to be on Underdog. I think I saw like 67.5. That's too low. This is a T-Mac week for sure. Huge spot for him. Really excited about him. I like Chuba as well. Chuba's been really solid for the Panthers. Really good usage here. Solid enough total that I could get to Chuba. So I like the Panthers here, but I think Miami still has a chance to win this game. Like you mentioned, on primetime, we got to get a good look at them, and Tua looked pretty decent. The offense as a whole looked really good. We saw a lot of really fun Malik Washington usage. Mm-hmm. Waddle still looks like good Jalen Waddle. Achan's Achan. Really interested to see what this week looks like for Jalen Waddle. Obviously, given with no Tyreek, I would put Jalen Waddle as wide receiver 6 in my own ranks. He's wide receiver 10 in the 6-person drafts right now. Yeah. And what I think is kind of interesting too is I feel like I just need to like say this every week because I don't know, just because it's a new slate and got to remind people. The Panthers defense, I do not think is as bad as advertised. Mm-hmm. I continue to think this. By EPA allowed, they are. I'm looking for it so I don't butcher this.
Oh, sure. Yep.
They're 22nd, which isn't great. But I saw something. I gotta refine this the statistic. Maybe this is like I had a garbage time filter cranked way up so that way they didn't look quite as bad because they do play a lot of their games in garbage time.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, why is that? But regardless, man, it will be interesting to see if there's flop lag where Jalen Waddle potentially could fail here, and then maybe next week, we just go back to the well. Because the usage is still high. At any rate, man, Jalen Waddle is a great pick right now. Wide receiver 10 is just not is objectively incorrect.
Okay, yeah, he was my favorite pick on the board early on when I was doing drafts this week as well. I mean, like he just profiles as a wide receiver 1 with big time speed, and now he's got the role all into himself. I'm a little scared about Darren Waller getting schemed up, some touchdown based stuff. I'm a little scared of like just all the usage in all the world to Achan, but like. I love both of them this week. This could be super concentrated. We actually only have a 1-game sample of Waddle on the Dolphins with Tua without Tyreek. So we don't definitively know what this is going to look like, and it does feel good. I will say the things for you. I think JC Horn's good. I think the Panthers defense, with the outlier performance against the Falcons where Michael Penix played the worst game of his life. Outside of that, man, Patriots put 42 on them. Cardinals, who haven't put anything on anyone, put 27 on them. Jags put 26 on them. I'm willing to just chase that, like, hey, 44.5 with a -1 as road favorites here for the Finns, that they can put 28 on them.
Are you? We have more than 1 game sample of Jalen Waddle without Tyreek.
With Tua.
His rookie season. Didn't he play with Tua all season?
Oh, like since being on the team, like since the McDaniels era or something like that. I was reading it this
Okay.
morning. I was reading it this morning, and it was just like kind of an inconsequential like spot. But if we want to go back to rookie season, that's actually a really good call. We could use that as a sample.
Yeah, and he was incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. Yeah, interesting here. Socrates saying that Thorman has this as a pace down spot, which I found very interesting as well, because I wanted it to be like right now on our site, it's like the worst kept secret in the league or in the world that this is the slop it up of the week that everybody wants to play. So it's not truly the slop it up of the week, but it's the slop it up of the week that everybody wants to get to and play based on the current ADPs of this game. Yeah, I can definitely get to some Chuba in here. Obviously popped up with the late Q tag last week. And then we were wondering, how much utilization would he actually have? Would Rico get mixed in more than that? If we get a full week of practices from then, down for that. Also, keep an eye on practice reports. People are going to be talking about Jalen Coker potentially coming back, but it sounds like this week would be too soon. But his window could be opened upcoming.
Good to know.
Yeah. And then, even more concentrated with no Xavier Legette, right? Like you talked about the Tet role, but like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm really into McMillan, man. I just think it's his week.
Cool. Jets was also saying, are we sure the Miami secondary is ass? Well, Storm Duck is their best corner, and he's missed the last 2 games, maybe 3 games. So keep an eye on the injury report for that. Also, their backup corner, what the hell's his name? Ethan Bonner. Yeah, Bonner, 2 ends. He missed last week as well when we were playing the primetime Palooza slate. So he's a backup rotational corner behind Jones. So do with that what you will, kind of thing.
They're bad.
Any love for Darren Waller this week, Des? Like obviously he commanded some targets there. In particular, the rapper version of Darren Waller, Chris G's asking about.
No, I mean, maybe he's gonna catch a touchdown for every other route he runs again, but he doesn't seem like a good bet. But the one thing that you can say is that his usage is only going to get better, and maybe better even quicker now that Tyreek is gone. But on a full slate, I'm not going to be getting to Darren Waller.
Okay. Yep, that's fine. I'm good with that. Especially with tight end feels like a fine place to always scroll, but like it does feel a little high. Yeah.
I gotta double check what his ADP even is. It's tight end 7.
Yeah.
First scroll available. It's Darren Waller. That's the Genty effect I was looking for.
Right. Exactly. Well said. Dolphins is PFF's worst defense. That's interesting from Indrius there. I mean, it's hard to grade them because they've obviously been missing pieces. They obviously lost a bunch of pieces in the offseason. And then they've also they've played the Patriots, who looked pretty good with the special teams touchdown, the Colts, who shocked them in week 1, but now the Colts have turned out to be pretty legit, even in some tougher matchups. The Bills went burr with them blow for blow on Thursday night. It's kind of tough to grade them out. I don't know. Justin Fields and Garrett Wilson just made 2 baller ass plays against them, the long touchdown run and the long throw. It's really hard to grade them out. I know PFF does a more, granular hand in the dirt job than just fucking matchup based stuff. And their grades are usually matchup agnostic, but I don't know, man. It's got to be tough to grade them.
They're bad. They're 31st in EPA per play, behind the Cowboys. Cowboys, very, very bad. The Saints and Jets are kind of up there in terms of EPA per play with Miami, and then after that, there's other bad teams there, but it's not even close to what Miami's EPA per play is. Miami success rate given up is worse than the league, 54% success rate. Yeah. Rush success rate is 47%. That's 28th. you don't have to wonder.
Right. Okay, cool. Let's move on from that one. The kind of slop it up, not slop it up there. We got Saints and Giants here. Nez, Saints at home as 2-point favorites. Spencer Rattler, the first quarterback, yada yada, 0-10 to start his career. That sort of deal. I do want to leave the light on for our guy Taysom Hill with the Q tag, returning to practice this week with no ADP on the slate. I mean, Taysom Hill is the 101 of breaking positional molds out here. Also, the former Raiders tight end, what's his name? Foster Moreau, returned to practice. So the Juwan Johnson usage that we've fallen in love with, I don't know, 2 more tight ends in the fold this week, potentially. Scata Boys mount up in a big way. Still another week here, presumably without Taylor. So, yeah, everybody getting excited about playing the Scata Boys this week. Obviously, the quarterback change to Jackson Dart. The passing stuff left a lot to be desired, but the rushing upside was pretty fun, and he ran a lot. I think the offense, from an eye test standpoint, I watched a portion of this game last week, the Giants game, that is, Nez, looked very vanilla. It looked like they were kind of scared to like let him ball out and let him throw. Yet he found a way to win in a tough matchup against a good defense. So yeah, kind of cool there, but threw for less than 150 yards, and now is going to be without Malik Neighbors. So not sure we really want to play the passing game in this spot. Chris Olave on the buy low models all over the place. Rashid Shaheed, Kendre Miller with a backfield flippening potentially here. Can Kamara be a trade deadline acquisition for somebody? I played a lot of Kamara last week on the bring back, and it was Kendre Miller who scores the first touchdown. Kendre Miller was getting worked in early and often. He looks more efficient on the ground as a rusher. He's also getting some of the receiving work, which we always kind of thought was always Kamara's bag. Kamara's receiving work is way, way down. Yeah, thoughts on this game, dude?
Yeah, this is your slop it up. This is the slop it up that you're looking for.
All right.
You get the pace up. You get the pace up side of the Saints here to kind of allow for more possessions for the Giants, where they're just going to speed run their way to 3-and-outs or to field goals. So this is good for Dart because we get more Dart possessions. The Giants, I'm surprised that the Saints are favored, honestly, given the fact that the Giants just beat the Chargers on the back of their defense, and the Saints defense is ass. And to me, it's just like, this is an interesting spread. I get it's Jackson Dart. But yeah, I'm excited about the Giants side of things here. I think you're going to see a ton of touches for Scatterbo, potential, touch leader on the slate here for Scatterbo, given the fact that, they don't want Jackson Dart dropping back a ton if they can help it. Mm-hmm. But they're just going to run the shit out of him, being Scatterbo here. But Dart clearly, willing to use his legs and is a part of the game plan, right? I think that's what they kind of want, like a coin flip. If he's dropping back, like 2 reads and take off is really the game plan here. So Dart, I think, has a pretty interesting range of outcomes here. I don't think the floor is quite that safe for a rushing QB, but I do think that there's some ceiling here if he can rush in the end zone twice, which I don't think is like that crazy. But yeah, I just think given the fact that the Saints play fast and have a bad defense, the Giants are really the interesting part of this equation.
Yeah, well said, dude. He's also like the fun archetype of a quarterback to like kind of play it before we fully seen it in terms of naked quarterback on our site. Like he just, if you're gonna get a scroll the F down, like QB 10 who has 80 yards and 2 scores on the ground in his bag in a plus pace up matchup, like that's instant leverage off Scatterboys going every single time. And it's instant leverage off the QB position where he's only, 30% owned, 20% owned. Who knows? Maybe he comes in at 15 on our site.
Yeah, I mean, right now, at least in Dog Bowls, Dart is available pretty much at any time you're on the clock. QB 11 on the 6-person slate, that's going to be good for like less than 20% drafted. Yep. So Dude, he threw for 111 yards against the Chargers and scored 19 fantasy points.
Sure, yeah.
Basically 19.8
Yeah.
fantasy points.
Yeah. And that's
Against
like
the
that's like
Chargers are
Stone.
good.
Sorry, I cut you off.
No, the Chargers are a good defense.
Yeah.
Like, they're banged up, but they're a good defense.
Yeah. Like that's stone cold nut low run out potentially. And it was 19 fantasy points.
It's crazy, man. Like,
Yeah,
sure,
crazy.
his passing projection is going to be really low again, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Any love for stacking him with a pass catcher? Like Slayton had no chemistry with Russ. Wandell is, PPR scam merchant, but any love for that? Theo Johnson has a scroll the F down, tight end, skinny stack, finds the end zone once or twice.
The Theo usage is making me really sad.
Yeah.
No, I don't think you want to stack them.
Okay. Good point from Socrates here in terms of that pace up stuff. We know how fast the Saints have been playing with Kellen Moore, but also the Giants running no huddle / hurry up at a high clip last week. That's really good. Lavalord with a beautiful. Dennis Allen is so pissed off right now that Kendra Miller looks good. Oh, dude, it's so true.
Derek Carr vindicated though.
Yeah,
he was telling Pete in the green room, Kendra Miller can play.
Nice. There you go. Cam Scatabo last week rather, 27 touches, which is just incredible, but pretty inefficient against a good Chargers defense. He was stuffed inside the 3 twice in a row on back-to-back plays there. If he falls into the end zone, the 12 fantasy points looks better. He scores, 18 or whatever, but he had 25 carries and 2 receptions there. Devin Singletary did have a drive all into himself. But just thoughts on that ADP as RB7.
I like it. Like I fully get it. Who do you think's going to project for more rushing yards this week, John? Scatteraboo or Genty?
Wow. I don't know. Scatteraboo, because of the offensive line concerns and the way the Colts have looked, and the skew to the air. I think it'll be really close, but Scatteraboo, baby.
Yeah. I think I agree. I mean, their ADPs are Scatterboo's going ahead of him, I think, right? Yeah. Not by much, but yeah, he is.
Nothing goes together quite like Scatterboo and Boost-ober, if you ask me, Nezzy.
There you go.
Get those slides going. Dude, let's talk about the other side. Saints. I mean, like Olave, Shaheed, Kendra has a scroll in the 12s. Kamara has a scroll in the 12s. I don't know. Anything to play there?
On the Saints side, Olave's interesting because his usage is still there, but Shaheed's interesting too, but like just no ceiling on these guys that are going to win you battle royales so far. And against the Giants, I don't think this is the spot to play them either. But here's one though, John. I'm not doing this because I don't have the stones to do it. However, Kendra Miller is going to outperform his projection this week. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. He's going to. The worst rushing defense in the league are the Giants. And Kendra's takeover is real and it's here. And it's just a matter of time before Kamara is wearing another team's jersey. Kendra looks good. And I think they want to continue to give him opportunities in a season that is absolutely just a rebuild year and just trying to get better for the Saints. And I think they want to see how much better Kendra Miller can get. So I like Kendra here. I'm going to be really interested to see what he looks like in the pick'ems once those come out.
Okay. Sounds good, man. Dude, if I'm the Bengals right now, like this is just like a random like sidebar thought here before we're dealing with like Joe Burrow coming back, man. Like if I'm the Bengals, like I don't want this thing to get off the rails. I know they played 2 tough defenses in a row, but like I don't want this thing to get off the rails like too quickly. I'm picking up the phone. I'm calling this game and I'm being like, yo, Jameis on one side and Kamara on the other side. How do we get him over here?
I guess what's the point of Kamara?
I just think like Chase Brown's kind of like volume merchant, like doesn't look overly explosive. Could be the benefactor of like a change of pace dump off guy, and like Samaje Perine got banged up, and yeah.
Okay, give me Jameis in Tiger Stripes like yesterday, right, for the love of God. Yeah. Enough with the Browning shit. Just bring in Jameis and like keep your guys happy, man. Like, yeah, you know, like Jameis is going to boost your locker room morale when it's at its lowest, and your stars are going to be happy because they're going to get fed awesome targets. Like everybody wins, man. Everybody wins. Bring in Jameis, goddammit. Now, as far as Kamara, go ahead. Talk about Jameis.
Yeah, the Jameis contract is definitely harder to move as like the 2-year thing where they want him to be there. The Russ one's the easy one to move. Like the 1 year, whatever.
Yeah. Russ is easy to move, but I think just because the contract is so friendly, I don't think Dayball will do it because he wants a competent backup. He doesn't want, because if it's not Russ back there, he's getting. I mean, he's if Russ is back there, he's already getting fired. But like, he definitely wants to keep Russ. It's going to cost a lot for Russ to get moved because of the contract being so friendly, I think. Now, I was just going to say, just real quickly, if Kamara gets traded,
there's some good ones in the chat.
To the Bears would be fun.
Bears, Chiefs, and Arizona in the chat right now. Those all feel fun. And all feel feasible, too.
They do. They do. Yeah, I can't really think of anything much better, really. The problem with that would make anybody pissed.
The problem with Kamara is the money. Like, because they gave him that big extension and whatever. Like, the Saints would have to eat like a good portion of the money, I believe. Like,
he's like borderline untradeable, especially when he doesn't even look good right now.
Right. Like, they had the opt out this year, and then they said no to it, and now they got 2 years the next bit. I mean, it's the NFL. You can just fucking cut dudes, but yeah.
I know where he's going though.
18 against the cap next year.
Yeah. I know where he's going.
Where's he going?
Commanders,
yeah. That's kind of fun too.
He's a Mander.
Yeah. Cowboys would be fun. I mean, Cowboys just look fun in general right now for fantasy standpoint.
Yeah.
Kamara's not better than Swift. That's a good take. Yeah, Jake Brown, he's such a fucking eyesore to play football. Oh yeah, buddy. I've been saying since the UW days, man. It was tough to watch. All right, dude, let's move on here. Cowboys and Jets here. People are really excited to play this because both offenses have looked good the last 2 games here. Justin Fields is QB1 on the slate, and rightfully so because he looks electric as a runner. He's had 27 points and 29 points in the 2 full games that he has played on our site here. Dak Prescott was started as a decent scroll. Now he's getting stacked almost every single time because both Pickens and Javonte Williams and Ferg go every single draft here. People want this to be like the game of the week here. The pace up, the back and forth, the big scoring, because we just saw them both score some points and be decently concentrated. A lot of fun pieces in this one, Nez, and the defenses considerably worse than we potentially thought they were going to be at the beginning of the season there. So 47.5 on the unabated line here, 2.5 by way of the Cowboys as road favorites. Yeah, just thoughts here, dude. Is this a game that you're targeting as heavily as the community is right now? Yeah, Thorman wrote this one as pace up. So what do you think?
Yeah, this game's awesome. Pickens, Garrett Wilson, priority targets for me. I think you can play Dak even without CD for sure. in this one, given the fact that he's throwing to Ferg a lot. Yeah, I mean, I'm really into Dak Prescott on this one, considering his ADP is what it is.
Yeah.
Which, to clarify, is at ADP.
He's QB5 now.
QB5. Okay, so that's gonna be like 50%, maybe 60.
Yeah,
Jaden Daniels is gonna flip him.
He was like the worst kept secret early, and the problem with him, Nez, is I think he's going to become the default swap for anyone who took Lamar early in the week.
Yeah, or they get Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so he's one to monitor. But yeah, this game is as good as advertised. All the draftable pieces I think are awesome. I mean, you could say, I think, to be honest, I mean, Garrett Wilson and Pickens are pretty fairly priced. Brees is is very obviously undervalued.
Yeah.
Running back is deep, but Brees is still undervalued.
Brees left last game, knee injury. Seeking second opinion sounds pretty serious.
Braylon
is the most recent report there. It sounds like Braylon. IR. It sounds like Brees sees on wheels up here. Isaiah Davis did mix in like late in that ball game on like some passing sets and that sort of thing. But I think this really solidifies, like scoring opportunities for Brees.
Yeah. This is Brees season for sure. Both these defenses stink. A lot to like here from a fantasy standpoint. These are two really concentrated offenses, so it makes a lot of sense to get here.
Yeah, well said. Breece Hall currently RB11, 28.3 ADP. It looks like biggest scroll smash at the running back we've seen yet.
Yeah, I don't know like how high I would take him, but I maybe RB6.
Okay.
Potentially over Saquon. I mean, yeah.
Sounds good. Mason Taylor sees on. Usage continues to be really nice. Keep finding across the middle of the field there when they were, dinking and dunking their way down the field late in that ball game when like the Dolphins were sitting back, a little bit of prevent kind of style stuff. He could soak up some volume, and if he finds the end zone once alongside that volume, could matter this week.
Mason Taylor, he's real cheap.
Yeah. 7 targets, 65 yards last time out, best game of his career. They're really looking for a second target outside of Garrett Wilson. Man, Garrett Wilson's just a fucking baller. Did you see the touchdown?
The one that got called back?
No, the one that he scored.
I guess not.
He just made like a nasty ass like Moss style catch and fell down and kept his foot in bounds and whatever. But the play before that, I can't remember who was on the broadcast that night. Was it the ESPN game? I can't recall right now. But it was like, no, it wasn't the ESPN game. I can't remember who was on the broadcast, but they were like, I don't know why you don't just take this one-on-one on the outside with like six yards of cushion every damn time when they were in the green zone there to Garrett Wilson. And then they get the exact same look the very next play after Fields misses that one-on-one matchup. And then they get the one-on-one the next time. And he just mosses the shit out of him, scores the, whatever it was, 32 to 28-yard touchdown. And it's like, oh yeah, that dude is just one of the best wide receivers in this league.
Yeah, and he should have had another touchdown too that Fields threw to him, and that was a bullshit offensive pass interference. Yeah,
it was Louis Riddick. Thank you, Aaron. Yeah, it was Louis Riddick on the call. And it was just like, how are you not taking this? And then they get the same look the next play, and he just mosses the shit out of him. And it was like, oh yeah, damn. Yeah, you should have taken that. Yeah, I think this is AZ Cards is right. This will be the chalkiest game stack on our site this week for sure. Just given like the lack of Q tags, the fact that it's pace up, the fact that we just saw a bunch of points scored by these teams, the fact that both the QBs are getting drafted in the top 5. Yeah. Top 5 at the position. Yeah.
Yeah, for good reason. It's one of the most concentrated, two of the most concentrated offenses for fantasy. So in good spots.
Yeah. All right, Nez. Let's move on to the next one here. I did want to hit one thing in the chat. Where was it? Colin saying, why does it kind of feel like a 3 wide receiver, 1 running back slate? Which is very interesting because we've talked about the strength of the positions being at the running back and the strength of the upper echelon of drafts being at the running back. Yeah, I mean, maybe this is just like how you get contrarian on this site is like, or this slate is only like 20% of teams are going to be doing 3 wide receiver. And if you are the scroll wide receiver guy this week, go for it. I think it sets up better for a 2-2, but I think the field will think that too.
Yeah. You're on your own there, Colin.
Yeah. You don't like the 3 wide receiver setup this week?
No.
All right. Sounds good. This is a fun question to ask by the our guy, just a guy. What percentage of teams with Wilson will have Fields? Higher or lower? 60%.
Lower.
Okay. Then it's probably not bad to be mixing in your portfolio just because it is so concentrated.
No, I mean, you can do Fields either way. You can do Wilson either way.
Yeah.
It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. Yeah, and well, Dallas being the chalk game stack evergreen, absolutely.
For sure.
Noah, we hit double dribble yesterday on the paywall. Go check that one out, my guy. And we hit best puck last week. We'll hit best puck again in the upcoming days here. Nez, let's move on. Arizona and the Titans. Marv Harrison had a very forgettable first half in the game against Seattle on Thursday night, and then had a very memorable second half. Looked every bit of the wide receiver 1 from last season there that we wanted to see. 10 targets, 6 catches, a touchdown mixed in there. Trey McBride found the end zone the previous week, not this week. Obviously, the biggest stuff being James Conner out for the season, and now Trey Benson moving to IR. No Michael Carter in the player pool, so if you want to scroll the F down at Cardinals running back, you have to do it by way of DeMarco, Bam Knight or something like that maybe, but probably DeMarco's your only option. Kyler looks like a good scroll at quarterback. And then on the Titans side, nobody wants any part of the Titans right now through 4 weeks. Is there any reason to play the contrarian Titans stuff?
The only player I really want to get to in this game is McBride.
Okay.
I'm good on Marv. I'm good on everybody on the Titans in 6 persons. I'm good on Kyler for sure.
Yeah.
QB 10, but like, when's the last time he scored 20 fantasy points for a guy that's supposed to run? Yeah, no, thank you, man. This game sucks. Trey Benson looked like a fun pick as 7.5 point favorites against the Titans, with like 60% of the work going his way, or at least snaps wise going his way. But IR for him, like you mentioned, so that sucks. And I think Michael Carter is live to lead the backfield in this game. So yeah, there's just nobody I really want in this spot.
I really liked the line about this game from Thorman's Pace article. This is in the Slog Pace, and the first line that he said, Cam Ward admitted we ass and insulted asses everywhere. Like it was just it was so perfect. It was like, oh yeah, that checks out 100%, right? Like, yeah, I feel a little different on the Marv stuff. I think I will do like a little bit of, one-off Marv in the last round of the 6 persons. I will do a little bit of Kyler Marv just as contrarian leverage off the Trey stuff. But yeah, man, I'm kind of in lockstep with you. This is kind of like the cross out game of the week.
Yeah, I don't want. I mean, Marv caught a touchdown last week.
Yeah,
certainly. Like,
there's no denying it.
he sure did. and he wasn't, and it is in the red zone. I mean, it's hard to get open in the red zone, but like wasn't even open. Like it's just strange, man.
Oh, good shit. Next one here, Nez. Bucks and Seahawks here. 3.5 by way of the Seahawks at home in a 44.5 here. No Mike Evans in this one yet again. Bucky Irving in a walking boot right now with a Q tag, which could bring Sean Tucker into our lives. It could bring full 90% CMC version of Rashad White into our lives. I don't think we're going to get that one. Bucks offensive line still banged up, so keep your eyes on that one. But Tristan Wirfs coming back last week was a huge upgrade for them. Seahawks continue to have this like chopped backfield right now, but both of them got home on Thursday night, not monstrously, but both scoring greater than double-digit fantasy points. Sharps falling into the end zone, and Ken Walker, I believe it was 18 carries in that one. Yeah, JSN still has one of the best roles in all of football amongst the wide receivers there. Him and Amon-Ra St. Brown being the two highest drafted wide receivers on this slate. Yeah, thoughts on this one, Nez?
Yeah, pretty interesting. Total is 44. So middle of the pack, but kind of like on the upper end in today's NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Bucky, we knew he was getting imaging early on Monday. We saw the tackle where he like kind of twisted his ankle a little bit. He was spotted in crutches and a walking boot today. We got the word via Underdog NFL that he's week to week. However, if you go to X the Everything app and you search Todd Bowles Bucky, he's in a press conference saying that we're taking it day to day.
Okay.
And if Bucky puts in a limited session on Friday, or if he's out of the boot on Friday, I mean, I don't know that Bucky's a great pick. Mm-hmm. However, I know that there's definitely room for Bucky to play football. So sure, yeah. That's really interesting. That's really interesting. Todd Bowles, I need to check the Coach Speak Index on his lying, metric as in terms of injuries go. But he said we're taking it day to day, and he said if he's still in the boot on Friday, he won't play. He didn't say he's not playing this week. So Something to keep an eye out for. Not a great spot for them regardless against the Seahawks, but some things to talk about here. If Bucky doesn't play, Rashad White, I think, is a good pick. I don't think he's a smash, but I do think he's a good pick. I think, he's going to see like 80% Bucky roll, which is excellent because that's a lot of work going his way. Godwin, first game back, saw 10 targets. So just pedal to the metal for Chris Godwin, which is really interesting. I don't think Godwin is a pick for me this week, but that is good news. Ibuka, obviously, continuing to be like running hotter than the sun, but that's just kind of like what he does. I mean, should he have caught a touchdown against the Eagles? It was questionable. Questionable. That was a very ill-advised pass, but Baker's going to do Baker things. Ultimately, even though the matchup isn't great, what I really like from this spot from the Bucks is what I'm getting at is like Baker. Really like the idea of playing Baker because Baker's a dog. It doesn't matter what the circumstances are. Baker's just going to get shit done, man. Baker, he's running. He's running for 30 to 40 yards a game. He has Godwin who's clearly full go. He's got Ibuka who he loves and trusts right away. So I think the way to play it is just naked Baker if you do want to play a quarterback that is kind of off the board and do it in a unique way. I think naked Baker makes a ton of sense in the 6-person drafts.
Dude, I like it, man. Yeah. Shepard's still running a lot of that slot route stuff. If he scores to him and he scores to Otten or something like that, you're the guy sitting there without Ibuka on your team, without Bucky on your team, and having, Baker. That makes a lot of sense. Man, if you don't love watching Baker play football, you don't love football because, man, was that exciting to watch him try and will his team back against the Eagles. Like, does he make mistakes? Does he throw into double, triple coverage? Like, he's better Jameis, kind of, like more reliable, better Jameis, where he's just like, he's electric and he's fun all the damn time. It's so fun to watch, man. The tail end of that ball game was so fun against the Eagles.
Yeah, he's a dog, dude. He's an absolute dog. So shout out to Baker. Seahawks side, good.
Yeah. Before we get to Seahawks side, I just want to hit a couple things in the chat here. Like just playing for the swap equity of Bucky feels fine. Ghost AF citing that last year at the tail end of the season, he had a DMP limited and then played. So like, I don't know, maybe there's something there to read into. And then Mathology saying that according to the per Coach Speak index, that Bulls is a trustworthy source. So putting some credence on what you were saying earlier there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the other side of this game, Seahawks saw a huge workload for Ken Walker with Sharps back. Sharps, I think, did get the touchdown there, if I remember correctly. But
yeah,
a lot of good work for Ken Walker. What is that? A combined 31 rush attempts for the Seahawks in that game against the Cardinals. That game plan, I don't think is going to work against the Bucks. The Bucks pretty stout on the ground. So, yeah, I don't really like the idea of getting to Ken Walker in this spot. But Ken Walker's a home run hitter, and he kind of does those things that defy logic in terms of getting home. So, I don't know. I guess there's still a chance he could hit a home run here, but I don't love it. JSN, clear good pick. Wide receiver 2 on the slate. It's understandable. One of the best usage profiles you're going to find in football. And Sam Darnold, John, much to our pleasure, is good at football. Sam Darnold is the man. The raw numbers are not there, but if you're going to look at some nerd stuff, which I like looking at some nerd stuff, Sam Darnold, in terms of EPA plus CPOE composite, which basically just takes into account, it's a combination of completion percentage over expected, which, I have my gripes with that stat, but EPA as well. Sam Darnold grades really well, which I do like EPA, even though it's a bit of a team stat. Either way, Sam Darnold is third in football in this statistic. Sam Darnold, really, really good at football and really kind of just doing what he has to, which he hasn't had to do a lot given the fact of how these game scripts have gone. But I think they're going to have to use him more to get to a good spot here, given the defense, the defensive strength for the Bucks, which is their run game. It's really hard to run on the Bucks. In fact, they're like third in rush EPA allowed. And in rush success rate, they're third as well in the league. So you're going to have to throw, I think, if you want to have success. So this is screaming to be a JSN game. You could probably argue, man, that he should be taking over Amon-Ra in this spot with Amon-Ra facing the Bengals on the road. JSN getting the Bucks. I believe they're at home as well.
They are, yes.
Yeah. To me, this really grades out strongly for JSN.
Cool, man. Yeah, I love the bull case for JSN as wide receiver 1 on the slate. Anytime you can pair like 2 of those first 3 wide receivers together, that's going to be like the focal point of my goal to start the week here, I think.
Yeah, if you can get an Amon-Ra JSN start, feeling really good. Pretty much any of those top 4 feel great to pair together.
Yeah. Bringing up the utilization report here, stuff for the top 3 on the slate there, like Amon-Ra, Garrett Wilson, and JSN. Man, they have just been cooking in a big way. And Quentin Johnston, we're going to talk about him in a little bit there. Right on up there as well. I love this contextual stuff from Ty here, saying Darnold versus the blitz has been elite as well, and Bulls loves blitzing. Yeah, Bulls loves blitzing and stuffing the run with Vita Vea right up the middle. Like that's their MO. So ball out quickly to JSN. Makes a lot of sense. Man, like I think it might just be Jover for Cooper Kupp, but if you want to scroll to like a Torrey Horton in play a little flop lag on that play in our 12 mans this week, could be a contrarian spot.
Yeah, I don't know if Torrey Horton made a big mistake or something, but they like cut his snaps completely in the middle of that game.
Yeah.
Which was annoying as shit, brother, because he was a great pick in that PTP. He's been playing good football, and then they just stopped playing him. Like, the fuck?
Yeah. Scored a touchdown on both special teams and through the air the previous week. Yeah.
He must not be able to run block.
Yeah, I guess not. I don't know. That's a hand in the dirt one I haven't looked into. Sawdog, what's up, man? Welcome back. Welcome back. Tuna, first time here, buddy. Yeah, PTP's tomorrow, my friend. PTP, this is the main slate only preview today. Yeah, anything else to be said on this? You said 80% Rachaad White. You don't fear Tucker. Like if you were gonna, swap into the Bucky stuff, Bucky gets ruled out on Friday. You got this Q tag. You're not factoring in that like Sean Tucker could just be the lead and Rachaad White stays in the same role.
I acknowledge that is like there's probabilities that takes place.
Sure.
I don't think that that's going to happen though.
Okay.
I think especially given the fact that like I like the Seahawks side of games in terms of spread like every week. I like them here as well at home against the Bucks. And if they are up being the Seahawks and the Bucks are trailing, that's Rachaad White's music in terms of being the pass down back.
Okay. Sounds good to me, man. I won't fight you on that one. All right, let's move on here. We got Detroit and the Bengals up next here, Nez. People are going to want to poke holes in all the Bengals stuff after the most recent Jake Browning performances, but Jake Browning faced two tough defenses, especially two tough defenses with the propensity to win at the line of scrimmage in a big way with Vikings and Broncos there, mixing up their looks. Jamar Chase still has a high ADP here. Nobody's touching Chase Brown after the previous week. This is a 49.5, but the Lions are doing the heavy lifting here as their 10-point road favorites. We just saw the Broncos hang it on the Bengals, and you kind of needed a Broncos double stack in the PTP stuff, or sorry, triple stack in the PTP stuff. Now, main slate's different than 3-gamers, but could you see like Lions, like 3-man or something like that being viable, in particular in the 12 persons this week, if the Lions just come out here and go, oh yeah, by the way, 56 at your doorstep?
Yeah, for sure. I think this is one of those Lions double RB slates, I think, where
cool.
You go Montgomery and Gibbs on this one. But yeah, it's not ideal. It's not ideal for the Bengals here, especially given the fact that the Lions defense is also like playing okay. Yeah, this is going to suck for the Bengals. There's just really no other way around it, man. They're about to get their asses handed to them. And the thing for me is like I just don't think the Bengals offense is going to be able to do anything.
Okay.
And that like how many pass attempts is Goff going to throw? We know that the Lions are not afraid to run up the score, but yeah, I just feel to me ultimately like my confidence level at cost is highest with Montgomery here in this spot. I think Montgomery can have an absolute game here.
Okay.
But yeah, you can take multiple Lions on a single team in six persons.
Yeah. So you're playing this primarily through the ground on the Lions side, plays to the total, and they just kind of like eat them alive and then salt it away. And you could find like 3-4 scores on the ground and pair them together.
Well said. That's it. That's a TLDR.
All right. Any love for playing the pass attack angle where like the Bengals do hold up their side of the bargain and we get like a long Chase touchdown, or we get, Goff doubles, or like even Goff skinnies with Amon-Ra?
The one thing that I think you can say is that so sorry, you're still asking about Lions?
Yeah.
I suppose.
Uh-huh.
I think what's more likely is like Campbell just doesn't give a shit and runs up the score, as opposed to the Bengals actually holding up their end.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, man. It makes me sad that like here we are, week 5 of the NFL season, and someone said in the chat previously, Brock Bowers went undrafted, Ladd McConkey's going undrafted, Jamar Chase is available in the 4th and 5th round. it's AJ Brown routinely goes undrafted. It's such a weird year right now. It's so strange. I
It
want to get
is.
excited about like, dude, Browning, just give him 12 targets and see what the fuck happens. But man, if they can't move the ball like they couldn't move the ball last week in prime time, it's like they didn't. What was the stat I said yesterday? They didn't cross half field for the last 3 quarters of the game or something.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
The one thing that I think you can say for the Lions is they're more vulnerable in the air than they are on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Not by any large stretch. They're middle of the pack.
Okay.
But they're a pass funnel for sure in that you cannot run on them. And why would the Bengals be in a position to run? Why would they try to run? So yeah, Jake Browning, I mean, he's either getting pulled in this. The Bengals are going to have to drop back like 40 times unless it's just like Lions just absolutely bleeding clock.
Right. And the only way in which they drop back 40 times is if they score quickly and score through the air on the other side, or like, Gibbs breaks off like a 70-yarder. I don't know, man. It just sets up for like, if this game goes nuke, like it is just like the one spot I kind of think game stack makes like sense, but it also, I don't know. I also just don't love it. It's
no,
like,
it does.
I'd rather just onslaught Lions.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I think to play it in a sneaky way, this is gal brain, but I think I do believe it in that, like, is Higgins just like a better play than Jamar Chase?
Right.
Where like they're gonna throw a lot, it's garbage time.
I don't think so, but I get the narrative. I get the narrative that like, hey, like Chase is probably the most fragile, highly drafted player on this slate. That like, hey, just play Higgins, who's like a fraction of the ownership, who could be playing later in the ball game, who's not, as disgruntled looking, yelling at his coach. And, to be fair, it wasn't that egregious when he was talking to his coach. But I don't know. It just, I get the angle. I'm not sure I can agree that like, oh, it's a good play or it's a better play or but I get the angle.
Those like OTA walkthroughs that offensive and defensive lines do, where they just like kind of like 50% weight. I think that's like what the Lions could do and like get home to Browning here. They could just kind of like operate at that level of speed and like still overmatch the Bengals.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. 10 reception Chase Brown as a scroll.
It's all you, man.
All right. Do you know who the third string quarterback for the Bengals is?
Great question. Why do I have a name in mind, but I know it's not right.
Okay, just say it.
Is it Brett Rippon?
It is.
Get the fuck out of here. Yeah. No way.
Yeah, Broncos legend Brett Rippon, who played a ball game or two. Bring back fucking AJ McCarron. Let's cook.
That's good. I have no idea what I just tapped into to get that. My mom must have really been loving some Tylenol. That's crazy.
The whole chat's telling us Chuba is day to day, so that's an interesting, just thought, I guess, when we were talking about that game earlier and brought up Chuba. Ooh, Trey Lance would be a fun fucking trade. I don't know, man. Chargers got Super Bowl aspirations. And you don't trade a dude like Trey Lance just in case. Would be like, the way he played in the preseason. He's just like, they got Super Bowl aspirations and their team is well-rounded enough and good enough that, if they made a postseason and they happen to have miss Herbert for one game in that postseason run, Trey Lance could shock the world. But yeah.
Man, the Ravens really messed up not signing Trey Lance.
Yeah, and going the Cooper Rush route instead.
Yeah, like Lev had a tweet about it, like all these teams that signed backups that match their play styles. Like, why would you not sign Trey Lance? I know Lamar is a great passer, but like, man, boy, does Trey Lance make more sense than Cooper Rush.
Yeah, good point, dude. Yeah, even Tyler Huntley made more sense back in the day.
For real. Yeah.
Yeah. Former Pro Bowler. Put some respect on
People
Tyler
forget.
Huntley's name. People forget. All right, Nez, last game on the slate here. One of the pace up ones here. We got Commanders and Chargers. Chargers with the pass rate over expectation, the flipping of the depth chart with the wide receivers. You guys saw the utilization report there where QJ has just been a monster, man. He's been every bit of the guy that people thought he could be coming out of college with like the prototypical X size body frame and deep ball threat. They drafted him to be the Mike Williams replacement, and he's doing what Mike Williams did 3 years ago alongside Keenan Allen. Was that 3 years ago? Yeah, 3 years ago when he was like wide receiver 5 or 6 for the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season, and everybody was taking him in the second round of the resurrection contest there. Yeah, we also got Omarion Hampton with the backfield to himself. Looked explosive last time out, ripped off a long run down the right-hand side there. He also has some good pass catching chops there. But yeah.
Yeah, interesting spot here for sure. Yeah, to me, man, I think Ladd is certainly primed to have a great game here.
Okay.
But I mean, Keenan is one spot below him in ADP. Like, I just feel like he needs to be wide receiver 3 in ADP for the Chargers here. To me, that just doesn't like make sense. Like, why he's still wide receiver 2. Where's our results oriented field at when we need them? Yeah, I love the Chargers here, though, man. The Chargers, specifically the passing game, I love it because we get Jaden Daniels back for the Commanders, which is great for the pace of this game and the pass rate to continue to be Scott.
Sorry.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, I think it just came out that said that he plans to play, and he's full practice today. Every single sign points to him playing. Underdog, he Jaden Daniels straight up said that he does plan to play. So that's great for this game. I don't think Terry McLaurin plays, but like they're saying he's trending in the right direction, whatever that means. But yeah, I think this is a really fun spot for the Commanders here. QJ chalk is just like, it feels really bad, but like, what are you to do when a guy has double-digit fantasy points in every single game so far this season? 4 touchdowns on the season, 13 targets against the Giants, dude. Like, his targets have only gone up as the season has gone on. This isn't somebody running hot. This is somebody who clearly has a role in this offense. I mean, look at the utilization here, man. Like, the ADOT is where you want it to be. The targets are what you want to be. The end zone targets are what you want to see. The play action targets are QJs. It is what it is, man. I think you just gotta have to accept this new reality. This guy isn't a nobody. He was a first round pick. So yeah, I think you just have to like eat the QJ chalk here because the Chargers are going to pass a ton. Yeah. Omarion Hampton is awesome, right? Do not get me wrong on that. He got home on 17 touches, which is not nothing, but I say that just because he only had 12 rush attempts, and he just happened to house one. Yeah. So the pass work for Hampton is incredible and super good. Obviously, you don't really have a lot of success rushing against the Commanders. So all signs point to the Chargers here passing a ton. And boy, does that not sound like fun? I don't know.
Yeah, it does sound like fun. You're right. Talk about the other side a little bit here. Some people in the chat talking about a Debo smash week here. Also, like Terry trending to be potentially coming back. He didn't play last week with the Q tag with the quad, but trending in the right direction early this week. But never say never there. Split backfield all over the place where we saw a 40-yard rush yet again from Chris Rodriguez there. It looks like our guy Bill, or not really our guy, but the community's guy Bill, is a little bit more buried right here. Yeah, is there any reason to play any of the skill position players? And then we'll talk about the quarterback.
Ooh, not at the running back position. Ertz you can play for sure. Debo you can play for sure. I'm really confused by this Terry positive sentiment. I know that that's the blurb. I'm just really confused by it because the quad injury, which is typically a multi-week absence, and then he saw a core specialist. Like, this dude does not seem healthy. So I'm very confused by the optimism there.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
he's kind of tough, but
yeah, we talked about the ramp up for him with like the whole contract thing where like, he was holding out and that sort of deal. And then boom, immediately back into football action and boom, injured. So like, yeah, guy doesn't have a lot of reps under his belt. He's got a lot of reps under his belt career wise, but not a lot this season there. Couple interesting notes in the chat here. Lattimore looking Cook. Like if you're just looking for that Chargers matchup side of the equation there, guys talking about Lattimore, who they acquired last year. Also, Joe Alt as is listed as doubtful right now, most likely going to miss this week. He got hurt during the game last week. So a Chargers offensive line that we thought was going to be one of the best in football to start the season is now without probably their two best offensive linemen in Slater and Alt. So that's, a little more bullish for the passing side of the equation or ball out quickly side of the equation, which might be a little bit of Keenan or Ladd's music there if they can't hold pressure. But as noted in the chat here, Penix had all day to throw last week against the Commanders. Commanders didn't generate any pressure. So if you're going to be without some offensive linemen, Commanders seem like an okay spot to be.
Yeah, Commanders are pretty low in pressure rate in the league. They're in the bottom half in that regard. In terms of raw sacks, they have 10. Yeah, I'm not like too concerned. They blitz, like middle of the pack.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm definitely like it's bad. All these injuries are quite bad for the Chargers, but this is not an effective pass rush for Washington.
Okay, cool. Let's talk about the quarterback angle of this game, but in particular, let's talk about Jaden Daniels. Yeah, you were scared last week if he wasn't going to be 100%. If he full practices all week, do we assume he's 100% going into this one? And do we treat him as he's like QB1 or something like that? Should he be flipping ADPs with Lamar right now? Do you like Justin Fields more than you like Jaden Daniels if you were playing a naked quarterback on this slate? Where are you at with Daniels versus let's just call it versus the field or versus Fields?
No, I don't love Jaden Daniels' ceiling. I think he has a really safe floor.
Okay.
I think he's going to have to rush a lot, but I don't love the ceiling for Jaden Daniels. Who would I take over Jaden Daniels? Hurts, Fields, Goff is a toss-up. I don't think Goff has a better floor. Prescott's a toss-up. Herbert, I would.
Okay. Yeah. So you're a little bit you're down on Jaden Daniels. Nobody's pulling the wool over your eyes right now by taking Jaden Daniels in the 6th round, where he's no longer going to be available in a week's time or in 3 days' time, week's end, because you think that's kind of where he belongs.
Kinda. I mean, I would maybe put Dak below him. Like I'd put Dak and Goff below him, I think.
Okay.
So QB4.
Sure. Yeah. Seems reasonable by me. I mean, a lot of guys are getting excited about it. Cullen's calling him QB1. There was another QB1 shout in the chat earlier. I mean, we just saw rookie iteration of Jackson Dart, first career start, kind of run all over the Chargers there. Can't Jaden Daniels do the same thing, especially when they don't seem to have a semblance of a quality running back run game right now?
Yeah, you need 2 on the ground.
Yeah.
Like maybe you can get home with a decent floor, but if you want QB1, he needs 2 scores on the ground or 100 rushing yards, and man, that's not easy.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good, dude. All right, guys. That's 10 games up, 10 games down. TLDR of the slate is wide receivers really top heavy, running back feels top heavy, but then feels okay for the scrolls. Tight end is got some really good name value, but there's definitely some scrollability when touchdown hunting, and quarterback similar in that regard, where there's some good top end plays, but then there's a lot of scrollability for getting different out here. Let's jump in and see what it looks like, Nez.
Let's go. We just got a pretty funny quote from Khalil Shakir from the Underdog NFL account.
Yep.
Somebody asked him, like, what's his secret to breaking tackles? And he said, I'm built kind of funny.
Nice.
He is built kind of funny.
I'm built kind of funny. Oh, that's good. Eggers is in here. Pink, I saw Pink in the chat. Pink's hanging out here. JT, if you're in here, say what up. B Sandy 4, if you're in here, say what up. And then Patrick Barnes of YouTube, the runner-up in the Dog Bowl last year, always hanging out. ETR's own.
Always in here.
Yeah. There's Jake. There we go. JT, aka Jake.
Yeah, dude, this is a very like wide open slate, more or less.
You think so? Yeah.
Kinda. Maybe not wide open, but like a lot. ADP, like just blind ADP is just not it right now.
Okay. So who do you think? I mean, we didn't go ADP by ADP or position by position because we usually save that for talking with Pete on Friday there. But if you had to pinpoint, like, hey, this is the most mispriced player on the slate right now, who do you think it is?
I think by projection, it's Jalen Waddle. He's going to be like wide receiver 4.
Cool. Do we want to get ahead at that wide receiver spot, or is Jahmyr Gibbs falling to 4 just too good a price?
No, I think you just got to take Gibbs, man.
Sounds good to me, dude.
We got. I mean, he's such a good cash line pick. I think like maybe the ceiling is questionable because Montgomery's going to get a ton of work, but he's going to help the EV.
Yeah, I know about it. I mean, seems like a fun pick, and Mr. Good Boy seems to like it too. He's just squeaking away over here. Here you go, dude. He's gassed up.
Oh, dude, I worked out yesterday.
Oh, congratulations! Well, welcome back.
Thank you. First time in 6 months.
Wow.
6 months. Yeah, having a kid, man, that'll zap you.
Yeah, and now you're sore as shit, eh?
Fuck, dude. Like I barely did. Like I took it easy, and I still got those like first lift soreness, which is a great feeling.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What do you think about George Pickens on this roster? What do you think about Trey McBride as a tier break tight end? Do you like Derrick Henry? I'm kind of leaving an open running back spot if you're catching my drift right now.
Get Pickens.
Pickens? You like Pickens more than attacking the tight end position?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
We can get those 12 McBride points elsewhere.
Is Pickens 90% CMC, aka 90% CeeDee Lamb in this offense right now?
I think so.
All right.
He gets about it in a different way, but yeah, this was the thesis all along. Was like, what if George Pickens had a good quarterback? Like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
impressive player.
Okay.
Great matchup. Love it.
Yeah, I mean, he could just get peppered, right? I mean, maybe he gets a little bit of the sauce treatment, but we've talked about the sauce treatment not being in the same breath as like the Surtain and the Stingley treatment.
Right.
You know, Sauce used to get the big like, yeah, some of the grading out stuff doesn't agree with the Sauce stuff as much as it once did.
Yeah. Still a fine player, but he's gonna get mossed.
Any scrolls at the Cowboys? Oh, we got to make this pick here. Tet goes there, which is kind of unfortunate for you. Igbuka's sitting here. The Scata boys could mount up. We could play Brock Bowers or Jake Ferguson and do like a double stack. Brees?
Let's go Brees or QJ.
All right, let's go QJ then. We're
I
buying
might
the
be able to get
narrative.
Brees around these knuckleheads.
Yeah, I was thinking of another scroll running back. If you're catching my drift here, so a thesis that we talked about on the program.
What fan is who's he a fan of?
Put it in the chat for you so you know not to dox us.
Oh, you want to get crazy off the rip?
Oh,
Right?
it's gone. It's gone.
Wow.
Never mind. All right, so Pink Funds goes ahead and takes David Montgomery. My
Wow.
My big fun idea was we were gonna do the double Lions running back narrative, but now we're wide open here, dude. We could do the Brock Bowers stuff. We could scroll down to Brees for the game environment stuff.
I think you go Brees, dude.
All right.
CLV is like a scam in BRs because it like doesn't matter, but Brees is just like somebody you just want a lot of.
Yeah.
Maybe this foursome that we got going on becomes rare as the week goes on. I could see it. Maybe QJ falls if projections aren't going to love QJ.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's true. John's a chalk donkey is John. We all know it. Everybody knows it. I know it. You know it.
He's a fraud.
Everybody knows it.
Mr. Fraud Boy. Mr.
Proto
Good
fraud.
Boy and Mr. Fraud Boy.
Fraudo run.
That's good. As you guys can see, man, only one quarterback has gone thus far, and we are in the 5th round. So definitely a very flat, even with the upper echelon quarterbacks style slate. We do see the 3 rushing quarterbacks go there. We have the Dak or Herbert decision here if we want it. We could double stack Dak, although that's not my favorite approach in the world. We could do the naked Baker thing you wanted to do. Jackson Dart would be a fun scroll.
Baker or Herbert?
Baker or Herbert? Let's do Herbert then.
Okay.
Herbert with QJ makes too much sense. This is like a cash game floor style build right now where these are like the quote unquote best plays where like Brees is undervalued right now. You get the skinny stack with the quarterback who's going to push up a little bit as the week goes on. Gibbs and Pickens feel good / safe.
Sometimes, Sean, you just take the best plays.
Yeah, this is AZ Cards and GA are they saying they miss old John, and that the master class straightened me out to not be so crazy. And people don't like it.
Laporta.
People don't like it.
We're not taking Laporta.
All right, let's scroll. What do you like?
Laporta looks good.
You got Gibbs already, though.
Yeah. What do you think about Ertz for the run back?
Yeah, Ertz seems logical.
Tight end 9. That's a good scroll.
Yeah, tight end 9. He'll definitely be paired with Charger stuff more than other stuff. But if it's the guy you need and the game you need, and Terry doesn't, the health stuff for Terry doesn't break right, you get Jaden Daniels back. He throws for 2 touchdowns. One happens to go Ertz's way. Let's go for it.
Yeah, I like it.
Big. Wow. Ooh.
I know we did one draft. We're at 2 hours though, John, and I do have to depart.
All right. You do your thing. I'm gonna keep this rolling here, and we're gonna scroll.
Yeah, you just need to get me out of the picture to get your scroll on, I think is what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, have fun with your scrolls. See you guys tomorrow. 3-game PTP. Let's hit it.
Sounds good, buddy. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Peace.
Peace, buddy. I'm seeing in the chat that there is the Terry news. Did we just get the Terry news? We did get Leggett news. Leggett will play. Full practice Leggett. Chuba that day-to-day that you guys were talking about. Alta's doubtful. Jaden plans to play. Dart's good to go. CeeDee Lamb. Ooh, doing rehab work without walking boot during practice. I mean, it's probably... Oh. Okay. All right. Apparently Siri is listening to me all the time. Could be a week or two for Terry. All right. All right. Scrolling with John time. Here you go. Unchaperoned John. Here we go. All right. We're in the draft. Let me jump back over. LeBron, J-Cam's in here. Eggers is always finding his way in. He's got this thing perfectly timed out. We'll see what Kings Gaming does here. Sure, Sanders sucks. Wrists up, baby. Wrists up. Noah, we're not going to do best puck now, but I promise we'll do best puck. All right. I think we can do JSN here. I think we can do Amon-Ra here. Either are good by me. Evergreen reminder, guys, that we're not using the suggestions from the solver right now. We'll use them tomorrow when projections get out, but we're not going to use them right now. I think Amon-Ra feels fine. Let's take Amon-Ra. We're not scrolling just yet, but there's going to be options. There's going to be options. I do think Waddle's ADP is wrong. J-Cam takes JSN, which is unfortunate because we're trying to build the super team where JSN comes back. Saquon coming back would be fun and fine. Garrett Wilson would be fun and fine. Yeah, bum hunting. That's why you're always in these drafts with your boy, huh? Garrett Wilson goes there. We'll take Saquon here. And then we're going to have to get funky with it. Is Jake Browning viable in the 6-persons? What's Browning's ADP? Holy shit. Look at all these attempts. I just want an excuse to like win with a bad quarterback. And like last week was my week, you know, and I just missed out on it with the Stafford stuff because I was like, our sample's too big of him not having a ceiling. And I played a lot of Ram stuff and I played a shit ton of Puka. And then I just didn't play it together. With the exception, I had 2 Stafford stacks in the main last week. All right. What other game environments were we talking about? Giants and Saints. So we could do like Dart and Olave. Kind of okay. Baltimore, like we're not going to play Cooper Rush this week. Ooh, Colts could be fun. Okay, we could set up a little Colts game stack here. We'll see. We could also do, if Jamar Chase comes back, we could do like Detroit double with Goff and then scroll for the running back position. So we could play that game through the air. We talked about the way in which you play it through the ground. We could also play it through the air where it's like Chase and then Goff to Amon-Ra and Laporta get you home with the game stack. Looks like Chase is going to get auto drafted here. Tet and Waddle would be fine. I do kind of like the Marv Harrison skinny stack more than Nez did. All right. Brock Bowers with the knee brace, bounce back week. Interesting to note that this Kamara projection is so high. Look at this. So if you filter by projection on the site, Kamara. Wow. So like the best available because there's no projections in the input model right now. Yeah, it's just going off of the Underdog projections. And Kamara's projection is still so high. Wow. Goff is being suggested to us. Bo Nix, that's kind of a fun scroll, especially to run naked. Or you could do like Bo Nix plus Sutton on this team. I like that suggestion. I was going to go a bridge further, but I really like that suggestion. Okay, I was going to do Sutton for sure. So GA and I are on the same wavelength here. We're going to do Sutton for sure. I was going to go Danny Dimes and Pittman is what I was going to do. But Danny Dimes is QB8. So, I mean, Bo Nix is a further scroll. I was going to do a 3 wide receiver team with a Danny Dimes stack, but the Bo Nix might be a good call here. Wow, CMC versus 11 guys. No Purdy, no Jennings, no Pearsall tomorrow. Wow. So it is going to be what are we dealing with there in terms of depth chart for the Niners? Like Mac Jones is going to play there, even though Mac Jones was banged up. Mac Jones was banged up. They're going to have DeMarcus Robinson, Kendrick Bourne, and MVS. Sky Moore probably gets elevated from the practice squad. Wow. Wow. Wild. It looks like our guy King Gaming is just auto drafting because he's taking the whole clock here. Brees still hasn't gone. So, I mean, he's still technically a bit of a scroll here. And then we could do Bo Nix. Yeah, is Mac Jones back? That's the question mark, right? Like, I think he is. Tet is still sitting here for us. I think we're going to do the Bo Nix thing. So let's just go ahead and take Bo Nix. We don't really care because we're going to scroll for the last pick. Do the little Bo Nix skinny stack off of Saquon Barkley. And now we got to scroll for a play that nobody else is going to play. Like Brees Hall's a good play here. Debo's a good play. Tet is a good play. David Montgomery's a good play. Woody Marks is scrollable. Ken Walker's scrollable. T. Higgins on the other side of that game. Chase Brown weak. Rashad White and just get ahead of the Bucky swap narrative. We're scrolling way, way down here, eh? Let's do the Chase Brown narrative. Let's do it. Why not? There you go. ADP 35.6, 34.2, and 35.9. Chase Brown, 10 reception narrative. Who said it in the chat earlier? There you go. Glad the Niners aren't on the main slate. Yeah. Is it real news for all the Niners? That is, I wouldn't expect anyone to lie to me. We could check the Underdog one here. Just confirm. Yeah, all listed out for, there you go, 6 minutes ago. All listed out, courtesy of Underdog NFL. Kendrick Bourne, yeah, the Kendrick Bourne narrative was not a college narrative. It was the rapport in which Mac Jones and him showed with New England. That was the narrative. Man, every bit of me looks scrolling all the way the F down here, guys, to this undrafted Q tag of Taysom Hill down here. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? We're going to be taking Taysom Hill in the Dog Bowl at some point soon. Speaking of Dog Bowl, I promised you guys a Dog Bowl. First Dog Bowl of the week for me. Let's get in here. Who's coming to Kansas City with your boy? One more person. Room for one more. on this trip to Kansas City? If they feed Chase Brown more than Jamar Chase after last game, Zach Taylor will not be alive next week. I love that take. Someone said it on the X machine. I think it might have been Jacob, but I'm the worst at reading things and then not remembering who to give credit to. Just doing the doom scroll. But someone said something to the effect of, every time I think Zach Taylor is going to get fired or whatever, I remember that Marvin Lewis coached the Bengals for 15 years without getting fired or something. So, yeah. Zach Taylor shouldn't be a head coach. I mean, it's really fucking hard to be a head coach in this league, man. Like, I thought Robert Saleh would be a really good head coach. Raw personality, football guy through and through, pretty sharp analytically, good defensive coordinator, and then he falls flat on his face. Everybody thought Dan Campbell wasn't. They're like, how the hell are you hiring Dan Campbell? Remember all like the nerds being like, why are you hiring Dan Campbell? And then he comes out with the kneecap stuff, and now he's like, what, a top 5 coach in the league? Like, there's just so much. There's so much that goes into coaching, like just in terms of like leader of men and building game plans and building shit within the room and building culture that is so different than like the X's and O's dynamic of, coordinators and stuff, right? Like everybody's excited about like Mike McDaniels and Ben Johnson and like these type of guys. Like people were really excited about like Kellen Moore in the past and Josh Daniels and like guys like this. Again, they get really excited about coaches like this, but like we don't know from outsider like fantasy football land like how these guys are at like raw leading of men and getting guys jacked up to practice every day and getting like it's a completely different skill set than like just drawing up the plays, right? Man, I love all these upper echelon running backs. And probably it is in the dog bowl easier to scroll. Yeah, man. Like, look at how thin running back gets in a hurry, but there's still like wide receiver names. I was about to make a case for like why I would take Garrett Wilson here, but I think I want to take Derrick Henry and just be like, yo, they put the ball in his belly 30 times. Respooked is in here. The miso tuna is in here. Have we talked about David Montgomery at all? Oh, yeah, buddy. That's all we're talking about out here. He seems mispriced out here. Guardians up 6-1. I was surprised they started Casey Mize today. Detroit. Not that that's necessarily a contributing factor as to why they're losing right now because I'm not watching the ball game. But I was surprised that they didn't go with Jack Flaherty. San Diego's up 1-0 by the looks of it too. All right. Man, look at all this green. I'll give it one less zoom so you guys can see the whole board. Big friends and family draft here. But yeah, look at all the green in the first round here. Scored 5 runs in the 8th. Okay. So it definitely was not Casey Mize's fault. Garrett Wilson, Nico Collins roll off. I mean, the nice thing about playing Henry is you just play it as a one-off and you just like don't have to worry about stacking him at all. You can see how much sharper the 12-person ADP is than the 6-person ADP is where like Lamar is buried versus the 12s. Versus the 6s. Tetaroa is way higher in the 12s than the 6s. He's ahead of Igbuka. which is interesting. Someone asked earlier, can you play Sam Darnold this week? I don't see why not. I like Justin Fields a lot this week, but I do like have a mental break with like drafting him in this format this early. I'm going to take Tataroa. Nez is like all in on Tataroa. The usage is nice. Leggett playing, maybe that's good for him in terms of like Oprah opening things up or a little bit of separation or like another person for the defense to focus on. But I don't think it particularly matters here or there. He's just going to be a focal point and a usage monster. Gives us a backdoor stack out. Not one that I particularly want to play, but like, I don't know. Do you guys think Bryce Young could get benched? They benched him last year for Andy Dalton. Could they do it again? I don't know. We got excited about, or some of us got excited about how he looked at the tail end of last year and the rushing upside that aided his projection or his production. I mean, this is going to be their best get right spot for a while. The Panthers' next 3 games: Miami, Cowboys, Jets. I mean, if you go this week and Bryce looks like ass again, I don't know, dude. I guess the counter argument is like, who cares? I guess the counter argument is who cares about winning games? All it is player development at this point when you're 1-3. But they could make a little noise if they rattle off the next 3 here in winnable games versus the Dolphins, the Cowboys, and the Jets. You're just going to have to score points in all of them. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here's Angelix in the 9-hole here. Right on. So we can give formal congratulations to being in the Dog Bowl. Couldn't make it onto the program for Winner's Circle, but has already punched a ticket to the Dog Bowl. Love to see it. Crutch is going with Brock Bowers there. Warren goes. So 3 tight ends. Those 3 quote-unquote premium tight ends going in the second round. Best Ball Viper thinks it's Amari DiMercado's backfield here. I got really excited that maybe we could push Jalen Waddle for a game stack, but not in this room with the projection bros who know he's going to project better than that right now. I don't know. Maybe you could scroll the F down to Malik Washington in the 6 persons. People like to get excited about Malik Washington in the 12 persons. People like to get excited about Malik Washington. Plus he has that like little added bonus of like, if he scores a special teams touchdown. There's a couple of those guys. Ertz and Debo for the Mind Man. Mind Man 84 going Ertz and Debo. So setting up that like Jaden Daniels that might not be there later in the week. Double stack. Jaden Daniels isn't necessarily the type of guy that I like to double stack, but it makes sense if you think like the Q tag's going away and he's thinking like, oh, I got to push this like now. I think taking Hurts and then taking like Sutton on the way back makes a lot of sense. And playing like a little bit of game correlation there. And then like Devonta Smith is free in like the last later rounds. Probably not touching Bucky or Chuba. I'm more scared than Nez is. I don't love like quote unquote early quarterback, but like when you get Hurts in the 3rd, it feels fine. Plus, we don't really have a plan at quarterback unless we take like Ladd and then take like take Herbert. Let's take Hurts and see what it looks like. Again, my first Dog Bowl of the week. Solid floor ceiling combo. Panthers rattle off the next 3. You think so, GA? Or are you laughing at the fact that I said they could even potentially do it? I don't think it's non-zero chance, man. Non-zero chance. Those are winnable football games. Winnable football games. Angelix is setting up that double Kyler stack. I mean, I like the Kyler stuff more than Nez does this week, I think. But wait and see. The miso tuna is just scooping up that Q-tag value on Chuba. There you go. Magikarp does the other idea we had with the skinny stack. Now, if AJ Brown comes back to us, do we take that? Or is it better to take Sutton first and then see if AJ Brown and or Devonta Smith come back to us? If that doesn't work out, you can always backstack with Dallas Goedert. I think all are viable. You can also just run Hurts naked. It's interesting to see in the dog bowl right now how many guys are setting up stacks and double stacks. Like we see the Arizona double stack, we see the Dallas double stack, and we see the Washington double stack get set up, although he gets sniped by a good drafter for Jaden Daniels. It's interesting. It's interesting. I think I'm going to take Sutton first. I'm going to take Sutton. I think if we need Hurts to score through the air, he needs to be pushed. So I think Sutton feels like the better click than even his own pass catchers. Hurts could also like do enough on the ground that like you just need Hurts on one side, Sutton on the other, and we get like a 28-27 game. You know, something that plays tighter into the total. But if AJ Brown comes all the way back, I'll probably take it. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here because this is my first dog bowl. Like the double stack narrative, we saw a double stack get home last week that wasn't even a ceiling outcome double stack. It was the Mahomes to Hollywood Brown and Travis Kelce double stack that got home last week in the dog bowl for third place. I don't know. Only 10 games on the slate. A couple clunkers that were like low-key write-off games. You know, like people don't really like Arizona and the Titans right now. People don't really like the Texans and Ravens with the backup quarterback situation there. I don't know. Is it viable? You know, Saints and Giants, like we can get excited about it being up tempo and being back and forth. That game could also just fall on its face, right? 2 rookie quarterbacks or rookie with an asterisk on the Saints side. But you get 2, you know, young quarterbacks, one who's been bad in this league, the other who didn't pass well in his first game. You get a really good pass rush on the Saints, or sorry, on the Giants side to attack the Saints. I don't know. Like that game could go from like fun and up tempo and positive regression spot to like fully unplayable in the blink of an eye. We don't know which running back to play from the Saints side. I don't know. Tommy Tremble season. All right. We see a Lamar Jackson sighting. A Rachaad White at 44. That could age really well. If you guys had to guess in the dog bowl this week, which stacking partner for Jalen Hurts would be most popular this week? Who would you guess? Who would you guess Jalen Hurts' most popular dog bowl stacking partner is? Because I think it's going to be Dallas Goedert. I think people want to two birds, one stone with the tight end and the quarterback more than they want to play AJ Brown this week. Let's take Mason Taylor. I like what I saw from a usage standpoint. We tap into another high total game environment. He's most likely going to be played as a stack partner. Hurts is most likely going to be played stacked alongside Goddard. Yeah, chat's agreeing with me on the Goddard stuff. I mean, I know it scored 2 touchdowns last week, but when Goddard creeps up and he becomes like a little more chalky like that, let me zig when the other people zag, knowing that I'm only probably going to play like 20 dog bowls this week. Hopefully I get more of them in than that, but I'm being realistic with my time and my life, and I think 20 is kind of like always my benchmark number. Let me do it in a way that other people aren't doing it. Now the question is, do you go ahead and add Devonta Smith here? I don't know. Alvin Kamara going at 31. That's interesting after the usage splits, but he'll probably project as such. Ladd at pick 42 as a bounce back. AJ Brown as a bounce back. Squeaky wheel at 47. Crutches is doing the full-fledged projection bro thing and setting up that Geno double. Another double stack. Wan'Dale Robinson just as like a volume play late. I mean, he could lead the team in targets easily this week. Chase Brown. Jawan Johnson getting the other tight ends back this week. Olave with the usage model. Godwin feels fine. Doesn't feel amazing relative to like how we think of Godwin, but feels good. Feels fine. Yeah. Tony redacted just because the offense has been awful, but like, definitely some good volume to be buying down there. Let's take a look. Devonta Smith is kind of like the default pick for us here. He's like the easiest. He's the stacking partner. He's definitely a talent tier break. Every running back is kind of like a split backfield guy, unless we wanted to bet on like Kendre Miller taking a larger percentage of the backfield. 11 carries last week and the touchdown. I think Devonta Smith just makes too much sense in the last round. I think he's going to be stacked less with Hurts than Goddard is. Doesn't necessarily mean it's good. Imagine how pissed off AJ Brown's going to be this week if this narrative comes to fruition. John Mechie, nice. Imagine how pissed off AJ Brown's going to be if they're forced to throw this week and Patrick Surtain just locks his ass up. He gets no separation, and it's Devonta Smith week. Interesting stuff. A Theo Johnson sighting as a scroll the F down. Darren Waller. Terry. Respook taking Terry for potential swap equity and or low-owned player if he does play through. Crutches takes Geno. Daniel Jones goes stacked up with Warren. I like winning your RB2 slot with some combination of like this Rachaad White, David Montgomery, Ken Walker, Chuba with the Q tag, Woody Marks increased usage. He's going to be like a hot click this week. People want to click Woody Marks. But like, who's going to project better and play better this week? Like J.K. Dobbins or Woody Marks? Like, I'll take J.K. Dobbins versus Woody Marks this week. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe that's like a little too much to say. Ravens defense is decimated. Eagles are good against the ground. RJ Harvey played well at the end of the game to like vindicate the fact that they should be using 2 running backs. But like the projection gap between like Woody Marks in the 3rd round versus like Pollard, Dobbins, and Chase Brown is like not as stark as the ADP suggests. And it's just like confirmation bias that like people want to play the shiny new toy, right? Interesting stuff. Okay, team. We go with Derrick Henry. Cooper Rush just puts it in his belly 30 times and he breaks off a couple long ones. Gets us back to the promised land. Teteroa McMillan, volume monster this week, potentially. Jalen Hurts, just a little bit underpriced relative to how we treat quarterback, but it is a tough defensive matchup. But then you layer on Sutton, who's just 60-1, penciled in. And then you layer on Devonta Smith because that game environment's getting pushed. And then we go with Mason Taylor, who's a little bit of a scroll and won't be 100% drafted, but definitely saw an expanded role last week. Yeah. Yeah, like could CJ get right here versus Baltimore all banged up? Cullen's asking, like, can you do a scroll to CJ? I mean, like, I don't think CJ's looked very good with my eye test, but I don't know. He's only QB 13, 18 fantasy points last week. That could win you a dog bowl seat. Definitely not in the 6 persons because I think it lacks ceiling. But if you wanted to do it as like a break glass stack late when you get sniped on some of the other guys and you had Nico earlier or you had Woody Marks earlier, or you want to do like Dalton Schultz plus CJ to close, I mean, I wouldn't fault you. Bo Nix and Jackson Dart go undrafted here. Tua goes undrafted. Not bad. Yeah, fun draft, guys. Appreciate you hanging out for the full 2.5 hours. If you made it this far, you guys clearly are fans of our content. Go check out the Solver, Draft Assistant. Some really cool additive features there for the combos and stuff that we walked through on Wednesday of last week there, if you guys missed that. Did a basketball show behind the paywall yesterday. A little bit of baseball, a little bit of basketball, that sort of stuff. You guys want to go see some double dribble drafting, go check that out. I will do a Best Puck Classic before Tuesday at some point in time. It might be a pre-record. It might be a live stream. It might have a guest, but most likely it's going to be for members only. Tomorrow, we're going to be back for the Primetime Palooza slate. Going to be really interested to talk through that one now that Purdy has the out tag, Jennings has the out tag, and Pearsall has the out tag. Going to be a lot of moving pieces and a lot of swaps to take part in that one. If you guys do not understand swapping on the platform, there is a lesson free right now. I will drop the link in the chat in 2 seconds here once I find it. I bookmarked it and it is right here. Let me get that one for you guys. If you guys are not familiar with the way in which we swap on the site, that Primetime Palooza is going to be one where you really need to be aware of the mechanics. So I will drop this free lesson in the chat for everybody. Also, promo code BADGE gets you 10% off the masterclass. Yeah, go check that one out. A lot of rave reviews around it. And then Off and On the Clock. That'll be at 3 p.m. Eastern on Friday. So guaranteed 2 more shows this week, plus probably a Best Puck Classic mixed in, plus also No Strip Nez on Friday. So members are going to be rewarded with at least 1 more additional stream, maybe 2 this week as well. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. Like, subscribe, notification, all that fun stuff. First day of Boost-ober. Enjoy the remaining playoff baseball this evening. Everybody's favorite time of the show, the end. Peace.